materials you can't read because it's coded for the secret societies. So I was able to get the best materials, one that is relevant to you, so you can understand something about the nature of this angelic angel or this God that is on the scene right now. Is this thing on? Yes. Okay, you got that wind thing closed up? Yeah, you drove the last down there. Maybe. Okay. We put her back on the throne so we can get with it. Okay. Now, one thing about this particular God, in Christianity, they had to wipe out the powers of the gods, which is the nether. When you put them all together, they represent the one God and the God one. That's why I told you it's important to get a book called From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt by Aiwas done the last year of his life. Cost $9. You get them at Black Media. What happened was, when later-day Christianity came on the scene and the Gnostic schools was closing down in ancient Hemmitt, and you had Christendom and certain forms of early Christianity, what happened was they had to take the God because they were trying to front on this whole monotheistic thing, which the God was monotheistic from the beginning. Can everybody hear me? So what they had to do is they changed the God into angels. You see, it's the same God. If you trace them back to Kemet, they turned from angels into gods. You see what I'm saying? So this was a way that they had to try to employ this so-called monotheistic religion, which their own the religion was always monotheistic from the get-go. You see, it's just that we do know with Islam they say the 99 attributes of Allah. You understand? Well, it's the same in Kemet. And I have to stress this and all because when we're dealing with these things, a lot of people are still spooked out. Number one, so don't worry, you ain't going to hell because your hell is on earth right now. So what happened was you had the actual the gods turning into angels, those angelic forces. So what I'm talking about is an actual God, a particular God who is a melanin God, and his makeup is a melanin God. I didn't bring as many books as I did this time, but I didn't need them because the book that I constructed, which I have on sale today, some of them I have. I got about at least 25, 26 copies, but I'll have some more copies tomorrow. The book that I put together based on different, well, I edited the book really, and I put the book together based on different sciences that I had on this particular God that is on the scene. And when I put this book together, I got most of the notes and stuff in here that I'll be coming from. And I do have this book on, let's say we've been into the intellectual thing where we have gotten to the point where we started studying. We say about a good 60 years with John G. Jackson and the History Club in Harlem and that whole 9 yards, Arthur Schomburg and all of that stuff. You know, John G. Jackson was a person that dedicated his lecture, his book that you need to get if you haven't already read it, Man, God, and Civilization, to Gerald Massey, which we now find out that Gerald Massey had a little bit of melanin because now we find out that Gerald Massey was hooked up into what is called the Council of Hierarchy, or they call it the Great White Brotherhood, which means the Christ White, or that Christ Crown Chakra, or it's called the Black Rite of Osiris. And also, I think you're going to need to close that door or something. Yeah, because that's called the Black Rite of Osiris. We understand this now because if you read his works, he straight up told you that everything was black. So now, as a matter of fact, they knew with us becoming smarter, becoming less niggerized, that what they would do is they would take all of the science and hide it in what is called the occult, that you wouldn't mess with. Occult only means hidden. That which is hidden. So they would hide it in the occult, and they would hide it into stuff that they would call Satanism. Now, if you're just sitting in the room back there, standing in the room, you can come up and sit on the floor and do something if you want to. Some of the people, Satanism. So this is the reason why you hear from this stuff, because they understood that black people would not touch it, and they understood that in some of your brothers, if you want to give them sisters, you know how we got to do this. If you want to give them sisters them seats, you all get up and give them sisters the seats. You know what I'm saying? No, we gonna give the sisters the seats. I asked the law, and that's been a good policy both by the Nation of Islam and by the Afrocentric community for the last longest. So now we take care of our own. Remember, Malcolm X said that the black woman is the least protected in the whole universe. So we want to at least give the sisters a seat. At least to be devil if it was hidden under certain things that you thought was Satanism. Number one, there's only one Satan, and that's a physical matter that is ruling you. Even though there's evil powers, but remember, those evil powers are used for the good. There's no power is power. Based on your nature, you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. This is why in Egyptian mythology, when you have Faulkner and these Egyptologists trying to explain it, they saw all these contradictions in the mythology because they didn't understand that the contradictions was just as much important. This is the African mind that you see in the abstract work and different things that make the genius of God. So therefore, when we're talking about powers of the nettles, we're talking about destructive powers as well as divine powers, or we would say subtle powers. You see, those destructive powers go hand in hand, and it is all the nature of the black woman and the goddess that is the one that can magnify what I'm talking about, especially embodied in the black woman, because she can be just as much destructive and with her criticism on you as well as she can be kind. She's the only person that can cuss you out, and then after she cuss you out, she goes, "Want something to eat?" Now, so we understand embodied in that, but that is the true nature of the goddess. The ultimate of the God form is not a male and female. It is feminine. You just happen to have a masculine half of the feminine. The masculine half is a part of the feminine. It's all one. So when we say the dual natures, we're talking about one nature, and that's the feminine. It just so happens she has a masculine part that you're saying is the male part. That's why if you go and study the triple goddess, most of the destruction goddess are gods are goddesses, especially in ancient Kemet, which is Sekhmet. That's why I want you to get the book from Fetish to God in ancient Egypt, because there is a papyrus coming from the Chesterbated papyrus called The Destruction of Mankind, dealing with Sekhmet being the ultimate destroyer. And it is talking about mankind meaning a kind of man, and it's also talking about things on what we are dealing with right now, how you're going to get out of this mess. Okay, so I can go on and on. So some of these, it's called From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt by Aiwas, 1935, done the last year of his death. So now, we want to pull some libations, and I want to do an invocation to Aiwas, and I'll get into this particular stuff to show you what's going on. When the white boy uses chaos, Satanism, the devil, he is talking about melanin. Remember Richard King tells you that they cannot go up to a certain level? Only 15% of them can, because 15% of them have melanin. Right? So we understand because them not being able to go up to a certain level, once they go to these levels, they start hearing voices and they can't penetrate, and they say, "Ooh, that's the devil." So when they refer to these things of satanic or demonology, they're talking about demonology from them, because it is our destructive force that's going to take them out. And the white man's God is your devil, and the white man's devil is your God. That's why we know now that 98% of the reason why your churches don't work now, all of them, is because those churches are built on Satanistic types of structures. And this is why you haven't been able to progress. Even though your own spirituality got you this far, which says you can go and crazy out of slavery, but now it's not enough because the white boy has turned on more Jews. Now, when I went to New York about 2 weeks, I went to New York on the 1st of March. I went to Brooklyn. And what usually when I quote a libation, the spirit hit, and I just ramble on, and what might seem like 4 hours, it might be 4 hours, might seem like 2. But when I was there, I was in this place called the House of the Lord. And the spirit did not hit me. So I had to take all of my energy to deliver a good message, even though I delivered a great message on the same level as the other ones, but I had to use all of my powers to do it, and I was trained. Whereas before, the spirit just hit. Like right now, I'm in the spirit. You see. But what it was, and I couldn't figure it out, number one, it was Brooklyn and all them buildings. That's why they got to get out of New York. Number two, if it was in Manhattan, it's a little different. Manhattan has pyramids on the building, just like they do in Atlanta, and they use the energy, and you can use that energy for your benefit. But like I said before, they're using that energy also for psychic warfare against Florence Jackson, and they say they're going to try to do the same thing to black media. But I was in Brooklyn, and the next thing I was in the House of the Lord. Even though they had black Jesuses all over the church, we still got that Uncle Tom element that's in there, that destructive element. So it did not work. Right now, I can suggest if you want to get out of this, if you're bad enough, I don't see why in the devil, any of you. Now you can't, as a man and woman, think his heart, so is he or she. Why would you go to a church at this day and age? If you on the frequency, if you want to make a good challenge, don't go back to the church. You know that is a death temple for your people. You know that there's 98 churches in this particular area between the Fulton County, let's say the Georgia Dome, all the way up to the end of Cascade. There's almost 98 churches, we counted them, set in the worst area ever. Why is that? Your church is supposed to reflect your area. That means that obviously that is the particular thing that is sustaining the mass degradation and destruction, as well as the 5 colleges over there that's giving the people an indoctrination. Now remember, that is putting out white man's mind. And your country runs based on your mental ability, because thoughts are things in the universe. So you don't need to go back to no church.
The chicken places are called churches.
That ain't that something. And like I said before, we know the steroids they put in them big old chickens. Like I said, you go to the chicken farm, and them big chickens walk around pumped up. You know, so you know that. That's key. That's something. Ooh, there it is. That is true. So we want to pour some libations right quick. To the gods. We can start it all off and get the juice flowing and all, because I know that this is a kind of cramped space, but remember now, any places of liberation we'll meet on top of the houses we have to. So we don't worry about that, no. You know what I'm saying? You know doggone well, about a few years ago in our nigger days, a club could be this small, and it could be 3 times as much people, and you'll be up in there sweat and jack. You understand? It's just when it comes to the real serious thing, you go, man, this is mighty small. You understand? The brothers, I appreciate the brothers for even trying to do something by converting their shop into also a liberation, you see, place. We know that we can't have elaborate places in the struggle when it comes to wartime. You know what I'm saying? You meet in the trenches. So they have done this, and more businesses should do the same thing also. So we want to do that. Like I said, I got this book on sale for $6, dealing with this Aiwas angel. I'll have more books tomorrow. And, God bless me to go to Office Depot, and there was paper was nothing like $3. So, that worked out great. You know what I'm saying? So that means I don't have to charge you a whole lot. See? Which is good, because we need to get this information out. And plus, I put it together the best way I could, and I know you all, anything that I don't know about that Dan, I really got the good shiny cover and all that. But the graphics in here and some of the pictures in here is beautiful, so I think I did a good job to say that this man took me, and in 3 days I put together a book with 37 pages of bibliography and glossary and all that. If you decide to get the book, study the glossary, because there's terms in the glossary, there's terms on serious, and terms on certain things that will explain different explanations that you have been asking to have in a lot of my lectures. Well, what does this mean? So do that. So let's go into this libation. We're going to pull to some gods. This will be some Egyptian gods or whatever gods. I'll call out the gods, and then you say Ashe, and then we'll go with the family. And if you think of a god I didn't say, call it out. So then we'll go with the family members and all. So let's say Heru and Ashe. Aset. Osar. Jeshua ben Pandera, which means Jesus. Buddha. The blue black god Krishna. The blue black god Nomo. The blue god of the perfect black Osar. It's Osiris. All right. The goddess of destruction, which is Sekhmet. Ashe. And I'll tell you a little bit on this, because stuff is on the scene right now. I'm going to get into that. The god Beth. We'll get into him in a few minutes. The goddess Heru or Hathor. We'll get into her. Elijah Muhammad, ascended master. Noble Drew Ali, ascended master. Marcus Garvey, ascended master. Imhotep, who rose to the level of God while he was living. Ashe. Quetzalcoatl, the Egyptian form, the Western form of Heru. Ashe.
end.
That's right, all the way to the end. Ashe. Okay, let's get some, the God Aiwas, I'm going to put him down. Ashe. Let's see, okay, we're going to do some ascended parents and ancestors. So this is my father, Hemmitt. Ashe. My grandmother, Irene Shaw. Ashe. My aunt, Irene Shaw. No, excuse me, my grandmother is Irene Shaw. My aunt is Mabel D. Ford. Ashe. Who else? My grandfather, Ollie Hemmitt Sr. Ashe. Now, which is also back on us now. So we'll put the Ashe to the God. The God is here right now with us. Ashe. Now, any others? Come on with me. Ashe. Ashe.
Easy to listen.
Ashe. Get to your ancestors. They're going to get mad now. Get some ancestors. We got the gods. Because remember now, the gods are all one. Once they get up there, they're all one. What's that? Ashe. 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 Oh, Bakala. Oh, I gotta say that. Ashe. Bob Marley. Ashe. 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 Give me two more.
Norman Dawson.
Ashe. Ashe. Boom. We're gonna bust it in the head like that. All right. So now we got the power, so we don't have to worry about that at all. The power is among us now. I can give you some water and I'll shave myself when it comes to drinking. Now, one thing about it, sometimes when you see me on the tape, it seems like it says, well, look, now I get tons of books and I read often, which they're taking me from the intellectual process because now it's a spiritual battle. But when I'm on the tapes and stuff, sometimes it seems like I can't read because I'm going so fast. What is actually happening is the spirit catch me, and I'm going, and my mind and everything is going faster than what's the words on the page. You understand? But I got a lot of reading to do today because I want to do this real technical because we talk about this particular spiritual being before I get into the point on who he is and what he is as far as we are. So let's get this thing going. Number one, I want to give the invocation to Aiwas first. I want to give the invocation to Aiwas, and I'll explain what this God is. This invocation to Aiwas. Aiwas, confirm thy thoughts with thee. Thy will inspire with my secret, firm, and subtle, free, creating fire. Mold thou my very flesh in thine. Renew my birth in childhood. Marry is divine. Enrich it earth. Dissolve my rapture in thy own. My sacred slaughter, whereby to capture and attune my soul of water. Fill thou my mind with gleaming, not intense and rare. To one refined, uplifted, not the word of air. The most bridal bound, quintessential form, freeing self from self. Freeing self to be found oneself in blend in spirit being. That's the invocation of Aiwas, which is also printed in the particular book also too. So you know, you want to get that. If you want to get this, you got that. You can invocate him for some things that you got to do. Last night the battery stopped in one of our cars, the car riding in, and we looked up to this ship that was above, and we invoked it, and the battery started back up. The brother said he wanted to tell you about that also too. So now we're gonna go a little while, then we're gonna have a little break, then we can go. Now listen, my stuff is long, but remember, this is knowledge, and we're at the final day. So you don't need to be walking out on the instructions on what to do and what this God stuff is all about. So you all need to stay, because remember now, if Michael Jackson was on the stage, you will call for an encore, and not only that, when he don't get to you, tear up the place. Remember that? So now you all need to try to stick around to try to get this juice. Number one, I got a good thing I want to tell you to let you know how the spirit is working. I'm from a small town in South Carolina named Mullen. There's a man there by the name of Taft Watson. He was a coach. He was a coach at a school by the name of Green Seminary. It was really, really in the woods. Mullen's a little town, you know, with all the stuff and all that old stuff. So he was this coach. Number one, he was in Sports Illustrated as one of the winningest coaches in the history of high school basketball. Now, this was a real spiritual story. I want to give you some things on what happened with this cat. Now, he won, I think his girls won 5 times, and the boys won so much they couldn't even count. Okay. I think he was teaching he's been coaching since 1945. Okay. I think he retired about 2 or 3 years ago, about a few years ago. Because his wife, you know, she said, well, man, you've been coaching since 1945. I want you to get out and be with me. Anyway, she died, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago. And so he went back to coaching he went back to teaching, and actually he went to just take a teaching job to get out of the house to do something. Now this cat is 75 now. Now check this out. He went back to teaching because he got the retirement, so you can make like $10,000 up, and if you do any more than $10,000, they cut it to your retirement. So he said, well, I'll go back and do that little $10,000 thing just to have something to do. Okay, he goes back to teaching, and actually one of the students that he used to coach on the championship team pushed his referee and got suspended from coaching. So that left him with both the girls and the boys to coach. Okay, now this guy is one of the winningest coaches ever. Black man, got a little short, petite man with a big hair like Hotep, so that's, Anyway, he went back and he started coaching. The girls was undefeated, and the guys had to struggle a little bit, but his son died, I think, in July. His grandson, he put him on the team to play. And at the buzzer of one of the games that would put them into the championship, the grandson threw up the ball, I think half court, and it hit net. And they won, and they went to the state championship. Now yesterday, this is in South Carolina and Columbia, they rolled into the state championship. They got all the state papers because they know this guy is a doggone legend. Now this guy at 75 years old turned around and coached the girls. They blew the other girls out because they were undefeated. He started to coach the boys, and they started getting blown out at the first half. He came back and won 2 state championships back-to-back at 75 years old, this black man. White people running up to him like he's God, flashing these cameras in the whole 9 yards. And he said, well, in his own way, he said, well, I put God first and always have, and this is why this thing happened. The spiritual part about that is this man is 75 years old. Take on a coaching job that the other brother was suspended and ended up winning 2 championships yesterday. His name is Taft Watson, and you'll probably hear about him in Sports Illustrated. Now, why did I say this? What I am saying is, at this particular time, the pendulum has swung our way, and we are out to win. You understand? So things are happening spiritually all over. Now, one thing the brother said he once said, who was a spiritual brother, got his own ship and everything, and we all got our ships too. When you get into your higher self, you can rejoin your higher self that's on some of these ships out here. You see that spiritual army that's talking to. He mentioned to me yesterday that what is happening, and it is true. Now, money and all types of things are getting ready to go your way, and you get ready to get out of this financial mess you in. And what it is things are going to be happening good for you, and that's to throw you off track spiritually. Things are getting ready to manifest in the physical manner, in the material manner to you, to throw you off with things spiritually. Okay? So we want to we want to tell you these things to be aware, because remember now, you are in the last days. There is no more time. The time is up. The what they call the grace period is up, and there's no more time. So you are in the last days. Now, what I want to do is, to start this thing all off, I want to go into some things to introduce this particular angelic being. We need to go back over the origins of the Hebrews that I explained the other night on the radio, to give you somewhat of what's going on, and also go back over the Ark of the Covenant, which is the setup of World War III that the white boy made his last move about 2 weeks ago. Okay? So we want to go into that right quick, and I'll get you some type of feel on what's going on, because this Aiwas melanin angel ties right in with that. So I want to go back into that also. Now, what is going on? We go back to the first blue-black primordial god, Soot, which is the first set. We know that there's 2 Adams, the Adam Cadmon, which is the heavenly man, and the Adam, which is the animal man, which they talk about in your Kabbalistic writings, more than it is your biblical writings. But if you notice that Kabbalah is the precursor to the actual Bible. If you want to understand the esoteric meanings of the Bible, go and get your holy Kabbalah. Now, just like Delbert Blair said that the black man had 12 DNA strands, which is the same as the 12 tribes of Israel. 10 of those were smashed by some there was 12 DNA strands. There's other 10, but if you get the Holy Kabbalah, you will actually see the 10 sephiras, or the 10 spheres that I always show, which is part of the other 10 DNA strands. And to tap into that is to tap into the actual other DNA. In the middle is a sphere called dark, which means melanin. This is where they get the word Darth Vader from, which is the black angel, which is also Aiwas, who governs the Death Star. The Death Star is Sirius. It's death to them. Okay? I got a little more information on this hell concept that you're so scared about also. So now, this is where you get Darth Vader and different things that's going on also. That's going on now. To go back to this Jewish origin, what we want to do is, this first blue-black god soot that I always talk about, which is the first set, which is in the Temple of Dendera, which is 9,000 years old. It's in the Temple of Dendera. That particular primordial god of all time is not only a god that was then, but it's a god that's supposed to re-rise. Now, stay close to this story. Anyway, what happened in Hemmitt is based on your Hyksos kings. Now we have evidence and we have science on the Hyksos. Dealing with Gemstone and other, when they actually survey this particular science, they find out that the Hyksos kings were a group of people that was not an outside people. There were some people that worshipped the ancient Sut Typhon and the mother and the son religion. Then you had the Amens that rose up, and they started, and they had a battle going on between which religion was going to be established. And they ended up getting pushed aside, and the cult of Amen rose up. Now, these particular two different religions are the same religions, number one. It's just a different mythological explaining. Where one is based on the father, and one is based on the mother. What happened in the Hyksos period is in the period of that, 150 years, the Sut Typhon, the ancient Sut Typhon, or Set Typhon religion rose up again. We talk about the good set. The bad set is not a god. That is a mutant. If you go to the Amen's religion, they explain this mutant, which is this white boy, in the Heretic Prize of the British Museum. So you got two Set Typhons. You got one called the god of the perfect black, or the blue-black god Sut, where you get your word smut comes from, or Sut comes from. And you have the other one, Set, is called the red-headed Egyptian Jesus. Gemstone works in Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, where it explains that. But you have the blue-black god Sut, which also in my book here, I give you some explanations on this blue-black god Sut, is the one we're talking about here. Now, the Hyksos ruled for, about 150 years. Then they got kicked out. Now, we know no nomadic people can come outside of a great place like Hemmitt and rule the priests and all this with 360 degrees. And rule them at that particular time when they, before then, at the place they said they came from, there was no civilization down there whatsoever. So how can they rule for 150 years when the priests got the forces of the universe? What happened was we got the same Egyptians were, the Hyksos were none other than another set of the Egyptians, of the Hemmites. They started ruling and had their own priesthood. So they had the doggone Jews to keep on ruling, but it seems like they had their own priesthood. Okay? Now, they were also called the disk worshippers, or the sun worshippers of the disk. They came from Ethiopia. The sun worshippers and the disk worshippers, not talking about this particular physical sun, but it's talking about the great central sun, Sirius. Everybody with me? That was also called the disk worshippers. Now, they were finally driven into a place. They had 2 or 3 pharaohs that went up against them. One was Sekhemre, was one of the first ones to go into this particular battle, and he went up against the actual Hyksos. The other one was one of the sons in between that carried it on, because Sekhemre got killed. Then you have the last son, Amos, who pushed them out. Now, they were pushed out into a city called Aiwas. I always get it wrong. Aiwas. Now, then after Aiwas, which was the city that they were pushed off, I think it was still in the nome of Hemmitt, they were later going to a call it Jerusalem. Everybody with me? Judea was named for the outcast Jews of Egypt in the city Avaris was called Typhon. The city of Avaris was also called Typhon. Now, the Jewish Hebrew language was the original language that was borrowed from Kemet. Now, they say the Hebrews was composed of hieroglyphics and symbols and myths of the Egyptians and their gods. The imageries and allegories of divinities found in the Hebrew writings are the Egyptians appearance of the Typhon coast. The Jewish outcast materials originally mythological in Egypt, but converted into history of the Jews. Now, we understand that he said the Jews were a tribe of Egyptians revolted against the established religion, which was talking about the Amen religion, and we talking about the other Set Typhon cult, or the Sut Typhon cult, which is an earlier cult coming up from Ethiopia. Now, Jehovah can be traced back to the Great Mother. Now, Jehovah, as we thought was a masculine deity, Jehovah, the original Jehovah, is none other than the Great Mother's acid newt tired. Okay? Now, let's go on. The followers of Ramesses II, who's supposed to have been a pharaoh of the Egyptian or the Kemetic dynasty. Now, tell the brother you might have to turn that little music down a little bit, because I know it's going to distract some of the people and all. Just turn it down just a little bit and all. The actual Ramesses dynasty, which is supposed to have been the people who kicked the actual Jews out. We know that we got a big old body of Ramesses left over, and we also got a temple of Abyssimbel in Nubia left over, and we also have the Ramesses and all this stuff that was built for a particular man that was supposed to have drowned in the Exodus. And we know that that's just a mythological thing, but wasn't the Exodus that they're talking about never occurred in Kemet. Now, Ramesses was a Typhonian worshiper himself. Now, we're not talking about the other Set Typhon. We're talking about the first primordial Typhon, the blue-black god Sut. His father was named Seti I, which Seti I was a form of that Sut. The first primordial god, Sut Typhon, who is his astronomical counterpart, is Sirius. Ramesses was a Sut Typhon worshiper himself. Now, Sut was a god of the Negroes and the Ethiopians that was called Aten. Also, a Sut-Neshi, the son of the horizon in the eschatology worshipped by the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians worship a blue-black god called Sut-Nesi. Later on became Aten, or Medu-Ra-Aten. Now, this is going to later on pop back up in Kemet later on with Akhenaten. Now, you got to keep these things, because we're trying to fuse these two together to let you know that it's all the same. But later on, Akhenaten rises up. Now, when Akhenaten rises up, is a time when there's a little bit of chaos going on in ancient Kemet, where the people started partying all night. Get Donald Redwood's book, Akhenaten, the Heretic King, where they go into the actual, where the people started partying all night. When Akhenaten rises up, he said he was going to put an end to that socially. So what he did was, his mother was Queen T, who was an Ethiopian. Now what happened was, she worshipped the god Aten that was in Ethiopia. Later on, Aten is a symbol also of the Sphinx, which is the crown and conquering lion of Judah. See how these things tie in? Which is the actual primordial segment, is the first crown and conquering lion of Judah. But also the Sphinx represents Aten on the horizon, on both horizons. His mother worshipped Aten in Ethiopia. So when he got in, he set up Aten. The priest took him out, not because of the particular god, because the god was old in Kemet. It goes all the way back to the primordial god Sut. You see, Sut, which is the same one, because now the old cult on which the Hyksos worshipped came out of Ethiopia and on down the Nile Valley on into the primordial god. Sut, Sut-Nesi, Sut-Nubit, Aten is the name of that particular god also. Later on, the Seth in the Bible where the Bible gives up where it comes from, where they put the second son of, what the third son of Adam is called Seth, is the same soot. They just changed things around now. One of the pre-Christians were called the Sethians, if you understand the Gnostic, because a good book to get is the Jean Durrest book called the Secret Book of Egyptian Gnostics. That particular book goes into where if you take the soot typhon of Egypt, the Seth of the Bible, and put them in, they are all the same. Even Jesus was a soot worshiper. But we're talking about the primordial set other than the other set. The other set was never worshipped. It's just an explanation of the white man up against the God of the perfect black Osiris. Everybody got that clip? Now, he rose up. He got taken out because of his political role other than the religious role. Even though he tried to establish what he called a monotheistic religion, but he didn't understand that the actual Amen religion was a monotheistic religion from the get-go. You see, Amen is also a form of the saints also, so we're talking about some of the same religious ideologies. It's about like a fight in the Christian church now. You got different sects that's talking about the same religion. Now, he got taken out. Moses rises up, and you can get the book Moses and Monotheism by Sigmund Freud. You remember that one? Moses rises up. I don't know what they say in the estimate, and also get Charles Finch's book, Echoes of the Old Dark Land. Moses rises up, and he is a student of Akhenaten. If he wasn't a student as far as right up under him, he was a student of the teachings of Akhenaten also, okay? Now, Moses rises up. What happens is this. You have a group of other people that are later on worshiping the soot typhon religion. Moses being a student of Akhenaten, what happens is when this particular people, these Hebrew people get thrown out or get into this big fight with the Ramesside king supposedly. And also you can get a book, if you want to get the true story of this, in an article called Against Apion it's in the works of Josephus. And one of the works, get the complete book of Josephus, where he actually talks about the Against Apion, where they talk about this second fight going on. Now you have the first relatives is the Hyksos. They get thrown out. Okay? Everybody got me? You got another people rising up right after Akhenaten. They're worshiping the same soot typhon religion. They are cousins of the original Hyksos, but all of them are Egyptians. Remember now, they couldn't sustain a religion because all the religion came from one place. But we're talking about they were Egyptians as far as the race. We're talking about a race of black people breaking off. So now, this is the time of Akhenaten. Akhenaten comes on the scene. He gets taken out. Moses rises up, and he is a high priest. Remember that when we get into this Ark of the Covenant, we understand how he actually fashioned the Ark of the Covenant. Now, he's a high priest. So now he rises up. What happens is the Hebrews at this time get kicked out again for worshiping Set and they get kicked out into the city of Aiwas, where their cousins a couple of 100 years ago went to that same city. This city was left over for those soot typhon worshipers. So, now, what happens is, Moses was a high priest and understood that these people by prophecy would later on rule the world. Now, at a certain time, if you notice, they say that the Egyptians, you're coming out of Egypt riding an ass. The Hebrews came out of Egypt riding an ass. Real symbolic. One of the actual Hebrew gods was called El, Har, which is Heru, Sut, Israel, which means Isis, Ra, which means the sun, and El, which means the child. Adani is one of those particular gods also, and also one of the names of Adani is Aiwas. Okay? Now, El also means the child. There was a book that was presented by this particular blue-black god called Aiwas later on in the 20th century. We know that they say that the Quran is the last prophet of Allah. But what we didn't realize is the white boys received the last book and held on to it for 90 years. And you just didn't know about it. It didn't come to you for the simple fact you were already a people that was going to rise up anyway. Just as the doggone cycles go, you're going to be on top whether you like it or not. They just saying individually, y'all need to get with it so you can get with this cycle. And don't go out with your beast. So they didn't need a book to come to you. You had all the other books before. So the book had to come to the white boys to give them a warning. It's actually our book. But it came to the white boys to give them a warning on what some things are going on. By him being the beast, he just held the book from the rest of his people. Now this particular book, we know that the oldest book in the world is the Egyptian or the Kemetic Book of the Dead, right? The Kemetic Book of the Dead, or the Egyptian Book of Coming Forth by Day, is the oldest book in the world that we know of, because at one time we were all gods and we didn't need books, right? Okay. Now, the only book, wouldn't it be funny that the oldest book in the world would only be the only book in the last days that would rise up again? And that book I'm going to get into later on about this particular book that rose up again. It's the only book that came out twice. All the other books, this book came out twice because this was the original book. And if you look at the other books, they are carbon copies of the original. Now, if you're Islamic, if you're Hebrew, and all that, that's cool. That just means that your religion is tapped into the original, so you weren't on course. It's all one. It's all by black people. You understand? We don't need to get in an argument with first lands because it was all of ours. We were the first people. And at one time, we didn't need books at all. Remember now, we was radiating at the level of godhood at one time, and we didn't need books. It was only when the chakras closed down and we started going into a third dimensional concept. You checking that? Is that right? Brother, this is important. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. This is what, now.
You see the light blinking.
No, I ain't gonna see no light. You know that?
This light right here.
I'm saying I'm not gonna see it. You know what I'm saying? Now, this particular book would rise up again. It is the first book, which is the original book, so the last book would be a part of the original book too. Two Kemetic books. You didn't know about one because one happened so long ago until it was out of your existence. But it came into your existence through these other books. The actual book that is the last book to come down, which was given by this particular angelic angel called Aiwas, was an Egyptian book. Okay? Now, in Hemmitt, they say that the Hebrews or even Jesus came out of Hemmitt riding on an ass. Now, the ass was a type of soot. The first god, his symbol was an ass, was the first god of the dog star. Similarly, the word Iu, the coming one, they're talking about a Messiah, is a name for ass. These types belong to the cult of Set Typhon during the Sabine period, which preceded the introduction of the solar time reckoning kept by Moses. Soot Typhon was called the ass and its fowl, which is talking about scientific evidence, and it's talking about this particular ass, and we'll get into that in another detailed study. I don't want to go into that all day. Now, what happened was this. You had this ever-coming one, which is the Messiah. His name was Iu-Sa, I-U-S-U, so it's I-U-S-A is one of the names, I-U-S-U, or I-U-S-I-F. And the I-U-S-I-F is a word that they put together to mean Jesus. I-U-S-I-F is a word that they put together to mean Jesus. Was the ever-coming Son, the Messiah, the true I-U, the son of the mother of the coming one of the double Heru harvest. Now, I-U was also a preacher, and this is the Egyptian Messiah. It's the form of Heru harvest. He's also a preacher. And he's coming, this particular Messiah, which you get the word Jesus is a compound or a combination of these particular words. Now we saying that Jeshua ben Pandera is the historical Jesus, but now they're saying that they ain't got evidence to say that he ain't even never existed. We don't know what's going on. But we understand that there was a Christ figure 2,000 years ago that did exist, went into the mission system and didn't get all of the gods to it. And so that whole cult came up out of that. But remember now, we can trace Christianity back before Jesus, so obviously something up under the Bible, it can go to the Kabbalistic breakdown. It's also talking about the breakdown of the soul. So now we got doggone tricks going on here with the religion in the exoteric form. There's two kinds of religion. There's the exoteric, which all the masters get and are dumbfounded, which is called moral teaching. That's to teach a child how to act civilized. That's meant for the beast. It's denoting some of your nature. Then there's the exoteric, which is the explanation of your nature. You see, you are now reduced down to the point that you got moral teachers. And like I say anytime, if you're in a doggone church, and he's supposed to be teaching you what you're supposed to know, 10 years down the road, you don't supposed to see that. You're supposed to have gone on to another level. It's supposed to be just like college. Remember now, in the ancient mystery system, you learn the religion and you learn all the other stuff at the same time. If you still last 30, 40, maybe 60 years listening to children's stories, obviously you're not progressing. You understand what I'm saying? You're not progressing if you're still in the kindergarten. And basically what we have with the actual religion is we have kindergarten stuff or Sunday school, and you never really graduate out of Sunday school. You just take the Sunday school and get a little more technical. The preacher just comes up and holler a little more. You see what I'm saying? So this is the type of stuff that's going on. This is your drug right now. And if you notice now, look on the TV. Look, if you get cable, every other station got somebody preaching. Now, if that is something that people are preaching in the last days, then obviously that is a drug. Because the white man, if it was liberation, he would not put it on. And if it tapped into your real spirituality, he would not put it on. I'm like John Henry Clark. I can sit up here and say that serves you no good. You say this, but I get so spiritual. You get that same spirit when you go see Michael Jackson jumping up and down. That's a part of your nature. That's a part of your nature. The black man can get spiritual off of a roach if he tap into it the right way. And if I taught you that Mickey Mouse was a god, you get spiritual off that because you are actually expressing a part of your nature, which is the nature of God, and it ain't got nothing to do with some doctrine that you say that make you feel this doggone good. Okay, now, let's go on. Now, this particular I-U-E-M Hemmitt was a preacher. Now, these are forms of the same word. He was a preacher in Hemmitt, which is a Messiah. The Hebrew preacher is identified with Jesus, who is a form of the same one. Now, I want to show you something right here to let you know some things that we can, because when we get into this Ark of the Covenant, we can understand what is going on right now. But like I said on the radio show, they got to pay a doggone price also for messing up, okay? Now, let's get into this. I want to show you something. I said it on the radio the other night, but I wanted to read this to you. Find out, and I can zero out. These are out-of-print books that you know. All the good stuff is out-of-print. Ain't that funny? But I'm going to read it to you, and then I'll leave a couple of copies of the black media. The actual Hebrews were northern Ethiopians. The Jews are said to be a racial remnant from a golden age. The golden age in mythology, that was Sut-Nub. Sut-Nub is another form of Sut-Nesi, Sut, which is talking about the first primordial god, and it's called the god of the Negroes. It's called the black one. Or Set-Typhon period. The Jews come from a northern part of Ethiopia, crossing the desert, and seem to have been the builders of the pyramids, which have perhaps evidence of Egyptian origin. On the plains of Africa were the remnants of the pyramids discovered, while the wild tribes who regarded them as holy foundations, which will be laid to bear. Now, they're saying that the actual Ethiopians and this first Sut-Typhon religion were the actual builders of the pyramids. If you get work studying Imhotep, you will find out that he was a follower of this first blue-black god too. What I'm doing is this. Most of you who have been taught on Egyptology, you get the Budges books. The Budges books is primarily talking about the Amun-Ra's code. You have a Sut-Typhon code, which you get the Massey's work explain this. It is an older one that reaches all the way back to Ethiopia and on back into Atlantis. So it is the one that is rising up. But the Amun code is nothing but the same names of the same deities changed. Just like the Jews changed all the stuff in Egypt. You see. But Ptah is none other than Sut. God of the perfect black Osiris fashioned himself back ultimate, God is only a grain of sand on a lonely beach compared to the great mother, which is the ultimate concept of universe, where there are parallel universes. Okay? Parallel universes. So now, the northern Ethiopians were the actual first Hebrews, and we understand that lineage, once they became established as Hebrews other than Hemmites, it went back into Ethiopia, and they remain there today. Okay, now that is key for what is going on also. Now, Moses was educated, as Manetho tells us, in the temple of the sun at the city of the sun. That's one of the temples in Kemet. Probably in Karnak or Luxor, one of those. He was an Egyptian priest who was that of the Israelites, and the Jews would rule. Who knew? Now listen, check this out. He was this Egyptian priest, and he knew that the Israelites or the Jews would rule at the culmination of the present age. That means that this particular religion that we had got on the scene, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, is a spin-off of the Hebrews' particular religion, which is nothing but a replica of the ancient Egyptian religion. Moses, knowing prophecy, understood that this would happen at the present age of justice. And he knew that he would return at this period as the world leader and give forth the real justice of Mosaic power under the new polarity, which will manifest in its entirety before the new actual progress that shall be established. And this period of the planet Saturn and the ruling planet of the other sign of Scorpio, which is Capricorn, which is under Saturn rules Scorpio, will come into conjunction with the unseen planet and to serve a justified evolution. Now remember, I told you that the Africans knew that they had fallen. They knew that based on their fall had something to do with Saturn, and they understood that Africa could not change their condition not unless Saturn was repolarized in Africa by Africa. That unseen planet that it needs to be repolarized is Jupiter, which is also called Iupito, which is none other than the actual Christ also, which is a form of that. Which we understand that the repolarization of Saturn and Jupiter in Africa is called the Siki ceremony done every 60 years by the Dogon tribe. That is about to take place soon. Moses understood the prophecy because all of them could foresee the prophecy. They could foresee into the future. Moses understood this, so when this particular group of people got kicked out of Kemet, he established himself as the high priest. And you can get the actual documents of Josephus, which are ancient documents that explain that. He's upset and he's trying to do a hostile letter against Apion, because Apion the scribe wrote about it. And also Manetho in his works, when he's given to Greek to explain the history of Egypt in a work called Sophis, which is serious, he explains the same thing about Apion the scribe, that's explaining what really happened to the particular Jews. Moses understood that they would later on rule, because that religion is the one that spread it all over the world at this particular time. And Islam is a part of that religion. That's why your deities in Islam is the same as in the Bible. If there's some religion that's remotely different. But if you take those deities and some of these figures that they turn into literal history, if you trace it back into mystery, it will go into the gods of Kemet. So some of the actual figures that they made into regular men in the actual Bible and angels in the actual Bible, if you trace those back, they go into God, into Kemet. Okay? All right, let's go on. Adani, which is this god Aiwas, also this word Jah, which is the word also El, means Adani, Jah, the Hebrew El, the Lord, has a biblical connection. The Lord of Israel is spoken to be dwelling between the ark that was amidst them, was the ark, that point of the covenant between the heavens and earth in the constellation of the thigh, was known as the ship of the north of the Holy of Holies in the entry. Now, you got two kind of arks that's going on. You got the ark they call the flying arcs, which is talking about spaceships. This god Adani, or this particular god El, which means child, if you El to Har, to Heru is actually talking about the Kemetic god, and the real true Messiah, Heru, that will rise, which is talking about rising and coming on ships, motherships, or arcs, or spaceships that they're talking about. Spaceships. And I'll turn over my notes to Black Media. You can get these notes and study these notes also too. We'll do that. Now, what is going on is you got two kind of arcs. You got the flying arcs and you have the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? Now, some of those same gods is Sut Neshi, Sut Har, Akan, the blue-black Sut, the Kaaba, Allah, which is all the same. That first primordial son, you got the El, which means God, which means the child. Then you have the Lot, which you got a silent T, which means La, which is talking about the primordial great mother, which is the triple blackness of space. And you got a conjunction of the same two words to say Allah, which they say, well, this is one of the best words to describe it all, because they understood that heaven is only a veil before the great mother. And by it being only a veil, that particular God has a mother. So when you say Allah, you're talking about mother and son. If you trace that back to Hemmitt, that would be Sut, and it would be the mother aspect of the hippopotamus goddess, or Tyre, or Nut, the triple blackness of space. Okay? I want to read that again. I got to put that in there, but that's a beautiful thing. I want to read this for you, and I have this, it's talking about, this particular, it's also an Arabic term of that triple blackness in space. It's called Layola, or Layla. And it says, behold, I have lived many years, and I have traveled in every country under the dominion of the sun. I have sailed from sea to sea, from pole to pole. And I lift up my voice and testify that all is vanity on earth, except the love of a good woman, a good black woman. And that good woman is called Layola, or Layla, L-A-Y-L-A-H, which is a form of that La. If you L-A-H is at the bottom, it's a form of that La, and they say Allah. It's an Arabic term called Layola, talking about the triple blackness of space, which I had already explained to you that the white man had already concluded that that triple blackness of space is something in a book called Through a Universe Darkly by Marcia Bertowski. The cosmic tale of ancient ethers and the dark matter that will determine the fate of the universe. That dark matter is also in you, called melody. The actual part, we say the magnification of that would be the triple blackness of space. So he said, all is vain on earth except the love of a good woman, a good black woman. Layola, I testified that in heaven is all in vanity. As I sojourn off to every part of the heaven, he's saying that all that in heaven, all of the stars, is vanity, meaning second. He said, and he's gone all over the heaven, except the love of our lady Babylon. Babylon is another word for this Layola. See, some of these terms that you think is talking about, in esoteric terms, it's talking about science. And it ain't got nothing to do with literal history at all. You've just been studying fairy tales. You understand? You've been studying fairy tales. And I testify, and I testify that beyond heaven, beyond the primordial star that they call Sirius, which the Africans call heaven, beyond heaven and earth is our lady Nut. Nut is another word for the triple blackness of space, which the mother and the son. And seeing that I am old and stricken in many years, and that my natural forces fail, therefore I rise up upon the throne and call upon the end. And then I am youth eternal, meaning he's gone to godhood now. And then at the end, she is Layola, Babylon, Nut, which talk about the triple blackness of space. When I had the actual transmission from the brother Melchizedek, I was trying to say, well, who is the head of you all? And he said, up here, we are all one. So I'm asking all these earth terminologies, and they kept putting me in check. I said, but he said, no, he said the other stuff beyond us is something you can't comprehend. He said, but what it is life eternal, and it magnifies where we can create this thing all over again. So the black woman can create over and over again and saying, for the end, she is at the end. That's what they say, she is and she shall be. And when we trace the history of the black woman all the way back, we find out she's the mother of us on earth. Now, I told showed you in the Temple of Dendera, which they usually show the zodiac, but they don't show the other part drawn by Napoleon artists, where they show the microcosm showing you that the triple blackness of space symbolized as Aiwas, which is the first primordial mother, is giving birth to all the other gods. But then they show the microcosm, that's the macrocosm. Then they show the microcosm, which means the earth god. They show a black woman stretching out her hand saying, this is the god of heaven, which is symbolized as a hippopotamus goddess, which is symbolized as the forces of the triple blackness of space. And the earth representation of her is the black woman. Okay? Want to get that right too, dealing with this particular. The COwrie is also called the Black Adam, which is the first triple blue black god, and I'm going to get into some science on the COwrie when I get into this real technical stuff about Aiwas, okay? Now, Aiwas, COwrie, and the sun, and the number 12, we're going to get into some science on that. Number one, let's get into some stuff on the Ark of the Covenant. Before I do that, I want to get into some other things that's going on. The white man is controlling us by our biological setup. Everything that he is doing is based on a war against the biological breakdown of the black man and black woman. Through diet, through everything. Through the water, through the air, and everything that we actually do. Now we understand, and I'm supposed to have gotten this book by now. It's a book talking about Ramesses' mummy, where they went and took that mummy, and the Ramesses' mummy tapped into the actual skin, which is melanin, and has memory. It has a memory. The melanin serves as memory, and they can get Ramesses. They got Ramesses' history. I don't know the white boy did it, but you know he's advanced in that too. They said in the last days the heavens will open up to the beast to try to give him a chance. Okay, and so he tapped into this particular melanin, and they actually got his memory bank or his entire life based on what is in the skin, which is the melanin. Also, because he understood history prior to his life, they even got that history. So this is some science on how important the melanin is. It is the primordial substance of the universe. Okay? Now, I read some stuff, and I always quote this, and it's talking about in the temple of Seti I, it says there are three groups of men, three groups of races, as we had gathered the signification of their names. The Tamahu is a light-complected people. In Egyptian, Tama means people and created. Talking about the created man. Hu means white, light, and ivory. The Tamahus are the created white people. The Na, which means black ink, talking about that Nasi or that Nesi. The Ne, which means black bird. The Shu, which means the person of birth. The Nashu or the Nasi or black-born are the Egyptians in a phase or from the black egg. They're talking about melanin. They're talking about that first man. Ham, the rudder, the petal, the fish. Hemmitt, to seer. Himmu just indicates the sailors of the seafarers of the people of the isles of the Gentiles. Remember now, they're talking about, and it says, might be regarded to an Egyptian of the isles also. He's saying that Himmu, or that Semitic type, because there's three basic races of men. There's the Tamahu, which is the white man, the Nesi, which is the blue-black African, from either Ethiopia to West Africa, and the Ruti, which is the Egyptians, which is the root race, and the Nesi, and those are both ancient. Okay, so that Himmu they talk about is not talking about the Semitic that we know of now. That Himmu is talking about a Semitic, about like I would be a Semitic in that particular time, which would be a black person. It's not talking about the Semitic of the white Semitic now. That it's all them over there is the white Arab and the white what you call it and all this, a bunch of mixed up stuff. Them ain't nothing but the beast. You know that, and their actions prove it. So we don't even get in a fight with the Palestinians half them because that ain't their land. The blue black man down there is crushed down there. And I don't give a doggone about no Islam or none of that. Ain't none of them your brothers in the face because they have killed your people by the mass. That ain't no different than the doggone Christian Ku Klux Klansman. Hell, but he still killed your people. So the doggone cut you in Islam don't make make them no brother in the faith. You know what I'm saying? It don't make them no brother in the faith and all, because they still got one thing clear of. They want to rule over you, the original people, and they know who you are. Now, it says that the Nephi, which is the blue black, and the Ruti, now the Ruti was the people who dwelt as the first that laid fast the earth. These are the Egyptians themselves, or the Hemmites, which is nothing but a form of Africans. I don't know why they try to separate it. The claim that the root race of men, the root men, knowing no other point of departure, being the ancient, have forgotten the complexion of the time of black. They're saying that they are the primordial black people. Okay, this is the key. It says that the Ruti and the Nephi created the Tamil. Now that's off of the temple walls of City 1. Okay? It goes on to say that the Egyptians regarded the black race as the first of created men, which means that they might have been, because they got a hue in ancient Kemet from dark to a dark brown with a little more, the hair gets a little wavy or whatever, but they also have them all the way down to the nappy head and all of that. But remember now what Diop said, that when they took the skin off of the mummy, it was blacker than him, and Diop was a blue black. Okay, now, the people of Ra are born of the great one who is in the heavens. The root are born in his eye. Remember now this great one, he's talking about he has an eye. That eye is the eye of Sut, which was the first eye of Sut. Then it was the eye of Ra, and it's also the eye of Heru, which is talking about melanin. Get Richard King's book, which breaks down the eye of Heru. Okay? That eye and their persons are superior men. They're saying that the ones who are born out of that eye, which is melanin, is superior men and women. Okay? They also created the Amu and the Tamahu. Further, he has confirmed himself with the multitude from him in the shape of the Negroes. And it says, Horus created them. Heru created them. The eye of Heru created the actual black people and defends their souls. Now this is the key. And it says, they may follow in mythology, Har, which is Heru, is older than Ra. Horus is older than Ra. Ra comes in a later thing, but we can trace Horus all the way back till he goes off the planet, because he's also in the temple of Dendera as Horus the Elder, and also as Horus the Younger in a Rhodes planet, called Haramakis. It says the type goes back to Sut, Har. This is real key. Sut, which is the first blue black god, and Har, which is the child, which is going to rise up also. So Heru, which is the first Messiah, and this is the key to this. Sut-Har, Sutnu, was the Negro god created the Nephi. Now what it's saying is this. We know that we can trace Heru back as the mythical Christ, which is the primordial Christ that all the other Christ figures came into the vine as an imitator of, or as another name change. But it's saying that that particular one, his first name is also Sut-Har. See, Sut-Typhon or Sut, after that particular cult got so old, they lost the track of time. And by them losing the track of time, and everything is based on the track of time, they had to set up another one to explain the time, and this is where your Amen thing comes from. But Sut means black. The Heru or the Messiah that they're talking about, this is being witness that the Messiah is black. You already knew that, because the actual Jesus was black. So now, was also black too. Now, they're saying that Jesus or Heru in the sign of Aquarius will rise up, or this Har, or this Heru, or this black Messiah will rise up again during the end period of the 26,000 year period called the year 2000, which we know that if we look at the white man stuff, we know that this thing is almost 10 years behind time, so we are right in the middle of the 2000, and that Messiah is back on the planet. Now, two things is going on with this Messiah. Number one, we even find out too, and I'm going to show you this too, that we know that something had gone on wrong with that first invasion that we thought was an outside invasion with the Hyksos, which is actually the actual priesthood changing over and they're having a war, because we now see that the first invasion there's something that went on that's very funny, and it goes like this. The mother of the sun worshipped by the modern Christians can go back to the type in Egypt of the mother and the son, talking about Sut and her mother Apis. The virgin mother of and the child of the heavenly conception goes back before the Semites. They were worshipped by the Hyksos. And the Hyksos, the shepherd kings, the primordial Egypt, were the rulers of the 13,000 years before the first shepherd kings, the first kings of Midian. Now they say that this Hyksos king, the ones that ruled was nothing but the old coat of Sut Typhon that ruled before Midian, the first dynastic period. And this is one key. But to let you know that this stuff was all a fight that's going on, because this is funny. The Hyksos are the word S-U-S-E-N-Har, H-A-R, the Hyksos were the followers of the great Kemetic gods, of the Egyptian gods, harvest. Mythologically, the Israelites are connected. So they are saying that this particular god is all supposed to be coming back from the actual Israelites, which were the fathers of the Israelites, was the Hyksos, was all followers of this particular god, Heru. So that means that outrules Jesus. Okay, they're saying also too that the ladies need seats. Y'all brothers got to unask them. Also it's saying, okay, they're saying also, if you got a kid, they're saying you need to root to the rear or whatever type of thing or whatever. I'm sure the problem is they're saying that they got complaints that when they get your videos, they hear kids hollering in the whole 9 yards and they can't study this stuff. Well, now, we understand the whole concept of family, but we also understand in the last days that people got to understand this particular stuff. I put this stuff out because this stuff is not really to get you to understand all of it at one time, but to make a good video so you can rewind it and study it over and over, which I found out that people been doing with mine since the first video, is to rewind and study this stuff over and over, because I be going so doggone fast. Until even on the video, you got to rewind it again to understand what I'm saying. That is the spirit. A lot of people say, you're so loud, but come to find out that that loud that they're talking about was the actual spirit. Remember, Jehovah Bless said, them brothers from Sirius, he said, one of them was real loud. So now that's the actual spirit. When I get into the actual science of what's going on, we can do that. Now, do you all want to take a little break, or you want to go on, or what you want to do? Okay, now, let's go into some other things so we can take some question and answer. Maybe this might get past faster than what I thought it would. But let's do this. Number one, I'm not reading on paper. These are little notes because I got it all up here and I got it all in the material. So I have to just look at these little trigger notes because I got so much to cover. Because like I said before, we are making what we would call a good video for study, because we are now in God's school. You see, and also this is one of the Negro Anonymous meetings. Going right now. You know, so this is the type of stuff that's going on. We're now all in God's school. Now, I said that. Now I want to get into one other thing. I want to get into this Ark of the Covenant, and then we can make a little break of whatever we want to do. Number one, the Kabbalah was the precursor of the pre-Bible. It is the exoteric Bible, and if you get into the Kabbalistic teachings, you'll understand it. Two good Kabbalahs to get with. One is called McGregor Mathers, called the Kabbalah Universalized. There's two more copies left in Black Media. I guess they can get some more. And in there they talk about this Adam Cadmon, this heavenly man, and the Kabbalah is saying that those 10 spheres or those 10 DNA strands get you back to your original self when you was maximum, when you were operating at a maximum rate of God. So that's one of the good ones. Another one is called Dion Fortune's book, The Mythical Kabbalah. One thing about Kabbalah is a lot of studying, but you can find some things that break down. Once you find the breakdown of the tree of life. Now remember now, the Holy Kabbalah is not a Hebrew Kabbalah because we got it on the walls of Combo Omo. Hemmitt, where they got the Pharaoh holding up the Holy Kabbalah. Now, how in the devil? Because Abraham introduced something to the doggone world teachers, the Egyptians, which they say he got it from Melchizedek. Well, Melchizedek, one of his Egyptian names is Medu Ra Atam. Melchizedek, or Metatron is also a name also too, which is a form of Aiwas also. Now, let's go into this Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was originally the chest of Osiris. You know, they cut up Osiris into 14 pieces and throw them in the Nile and the whole 9 yards. Well, the chest that they put him in, when they first nailed him down, the second set type of, that white boy that they talk about, nailed him down. That particular chest is the replica of the Ark of the Covenant. Now, you can get both pictures of this and both some more information both in Dr. Ben's book, Black Man of the Nile. Also, you can get it also in Albert Churchward's book, Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man. And they just reprinted in a regular book form other than those fiber-bound books, which used to be $40-something. I think it's like $16 now. So they talk about that chest of Osiris, which is the documentation. Now, the chest of Osiris, they understood that the Egyptian priests understood that they could, based on the scientific mathematics of this chest, which is supposed to house the body of Osiris, which is the same as the 10 Commandments, which is the same as the 47 negative confessions, the laws of Maat. They understood that this chest, that they could construct this chest and it would have, it's like a transmitter to God. That's why I go back and get the Ark of the book, the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, and study it, because a lot of things was accurate in the movie Hitler was looking for it at that time. Mussolini got it, remember. They just said it was in Egypt instead of Ethiopia. They already knew, because doggone Steven Spielberg, along with George Lucas, he's a Jew and he studied that. It's what inspired them to make the doggone movie. Okay? Now, that chest of Osiris, they understood it as a transmitter to God. They also knew that this particular chest, you can build it if you was in the mystery system. We understand that Moses was an Egyptian, or Musa, which comes to the Mosai king, Moses, Tutmosis, and the whole. That particular Musa, which means drawn out of the water, which is an Egyptian name for that particular Moses, was an Egyptian priest, Kemetic priest, but he was a high priest. He wasn't like Jeshua ben Pandaren, got a little bit of learning from 5 to what, I guess 29 or 30, and then go and exercise a little bit of stuff, waking people back up, bringing back people back to life, and all kinds of stuff like that. They say, oh, you God. You see what I'm saying? And all this. No, this was a high priest. You see, he had already completed it, supposedly. Also, the Nation of Islam tell that the thing about Moses went up and trained the white people, was a great emancipator to white people. Well, if you get Brother Jabril's book called something you need not look no further. It's something about this is the one. You need not look any further. A book that he wrote about Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan, which was first, the book was first written about Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1973 or 72. But in that book, he documents some Jewish scholars that talks about Moses being this great emancipation to white people, and by them whole being the whole chosen people of white people. And go get Michael Bradley's book in that whole 9 yards. Also, the 13th tribe by Arthur Cook, which is talking about a European race. But in that particular book, and if the book is not on, if they don't have the book now, again, I'll document it and leave it up in black media, and you can get it where he documents the Jewish scholars saying that Moses came up into Europe and emancipated or freed some barbarians and gave them some laws also. Now, this is what the Jewish scholars are saying also. Now, he was a high priest. So now when the particular Hebrews got kicked out into avarice, he went and started being their priest. You can also get Josephus thing. Once they got into the desert, what in this Exodus, there's 3 or 4, 5 Exodus in Kemet. I think at least 3. Once he got into the desert, he showed them how to construct the priest of this chest of Osiris, because he was a high priest. Also, we want you to get, I think I brought it again, it's now $16, Graham Hancock's book, The Sign and the Seal, the quest from the Ark of the Covenant, when the white boy found the Ark of the Covenant. I want you to get this book, it's now $16. It was a hardback for $22 and stuff, but that's when all the white people bought it, and it became a bestseller, and they put it down to $16, and now you're buying it, which is good. You don't need to spend that much money, you know. But the key is, this book documents the same thing, that he was a high priest, and those laws of constructing that chest even goes back past Osiris. laws of Atlantis and Lemuria. Which, if you get the COwrie Thrice Great Hemmitt $50 book and the actual Virgin of the World book and the Divine Commander, which the Virgin of the World is like, I think, $16. Where they document that COwrie said he came from a land from the flood. And this is pre-Kemet, so he was talking about the actual land of Atlantis, which the Noah's Ark is an actual story of Atlantis more than some other flood that happened to the Hebrews. They copied that from Kemet in this. When you get the story of Noah's Ark, it's actually talking about the Atlantean flood. Now, in the book, he explains also that he constructed this chest, and he said now, for a balance. So now you got this chest, and it supposedly had housed the 10 Commandments that he had wrote when he supposed to get the Moses 10 Commandments film. I know you know. Y'all don't want to read them. Go get the 10 Commandments film and try to decipher lies and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Where he broke them, and the pillars of the actual dust of that is in this particular Ark of the Covenant. He said, now as long as you have the Ark, suppose if you get the actual movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you can never be defeated. But whoever has it is the original Hebrews, okay? Now, I talked to a Ross brother. What's Brother Ross Siley? Brother Ross Siley. Ross Siley. Now, Ross Siley. Now, he told me about a book by a woman from Canada named Corbin. And it was talking about the Ark of the Covenant, and also it was talking about, it was dealing with the Rastafarians also, or the lost tribe of Israel. He said that when this Ark of the Covenant is taken and the beast try to get it to go back to the fake Jews in Israel, because you know that's the fake Jew that came into the time of Spain, I guess, whatever. I guess the reason why they chose the Jewish religion is because supposedly Moses had introduced it to them sometime before. But by the time of Spain, when the Moors moved to Spain, they came into the religion and they was converted into faith. You know what I'm saying? That ain't got nothing to do with the real Hebrew. That's just like the white man posing to be a doggone Christian now. You know, that don't make him the real, what you call it? You see what I'm saying? That don't make him that at all. You see, now, that's just like the Jews in Israel that occupy Israel. We know that the white man occupies America now, but he is not the original Native American. Or the native, we would call it. We don't put that word American on them. That's another satanic word. You call yourself, like I said, African American, you're an African Satanist in the whole 9 yards. So now, that particular Ark of the Covenant, that they talk about, whoever had it was supposed to be a real Jew. Well, mentally, that son of Solomon, which Solomon, he was black and he was comely, black and comely, took that particular Ark of the Covenant, went into Israel, and got it and took it back to Ethiopia, and it remained there to this point. Get it all in that particular book, too, the sign and the seal. Now, we understand if he was not, there's two things that's going on. Number one, the Ark of the Covenant could only be taken through bloodline or through melanin carriers, because bloodline don't necessarily mean your blood in your veins. It means the actual melanin carriers are the original Hemmites, Hebrews, and that whole family of black people. You would say African or Atlantean, because you know at one time this all was one landmass. There was not no such thing as just different things. This was one, and we now know that they're saying now that when Atlantis went down, because we had technology to bring things down, or the people from Syria brought it down, that's where you had your continental drift based on an explosion. If you get Peter Tompkins' book, The Secret of the Mexican Pyramids, where he talks about these blue men from Syria, came down during the time when Atlantis was going down and recorded it and left it in some mountains or some tunnels in South America. You see. Maybe in the Andes also, too, in different parts of them, in Peru, in different parts of South America and all, and left this particular sign. And these blue men were seen all over the world. The blue men from Syria. Also in a book, I think his name is something Calissimo, another book called Not of This World. I think the name of this book is Not of This World, and I think his name is, I know the last name is Calissimo. In his book, he said that the Atlanteans were blue people too. So we're talking about the blue people. Now when they say blue, they're just talking about that blue-black person, so black to the sun cast, the sky cast that shadow. You know, blue-black. You know, these were the original Atlanteans and the Lemurians. So when it was going down probably took it down because they thought it was probably was messing up. And they took it down, they recorded it. And when you see those pictures in India of those light blue people, those gods, they were actually trying to tell you that those gods were really blue-black. They just put them light blue now. So those people, some of the racist people in India and white people can tolerate it. But it was all one landmass. That's why wherever you go, there were black people here. Even black Russians, black Chinese in the whole 9 yards, okay? Japanese in the whole 9 yards and everything. So now, that's what happened to this one landmass. We need to clarify that also, too. So now, the bloodline that they say, when you're talking about this particular bloodline, they're talking about melanin carriers. Okay. He said in the book, Corbin's book, they say whenever this particular Jew, imposter Jew, gets the Ark of the Covenant, it would start World War III. Okay. About 3 weeks ago, I came in on a Sunday night, and my roommate said there's something on the Ark of the Covenant, because he'd heard me talking about it. He said there's something on the Ark of the Covenant that is on the TV. You need to watch it. Now I go in, and they got about 10 imposter beast Jews sitting around the table, and they are rejoicing. They say that because they had just received the Ark of the Covenant from the actual Elisha, or we say Beta Israel Jews, the Ethiopian Jews, and they were rejoicing. They said we got to find out whether it's a replica or not, because there's also that the brother Rafale said that there was also a replica that was passed around for centuries and fooled them also. Now, but we know that I think that Mussolini took the one when he went in the second Ethiopian war, because Italy started going to hell. You see, right? You see, because they weren't melanin carriers and they weren't the original people. Now, we understood that you just couldn't go in and take it, that the actual Hebrews had to literally hand it over you. This is what the campaign with the, what they call it, the airlift thing that was doing, Project Moses, that they were doing. Now, we know doggone well that they never, even the white Jews never even wanted to even recognize these Jews as being the original Jews, because even Dr. Ben talks about that, how he caught hell when he first came over here, thinking he was a Jew, went up to the white people, and they didn't recognize him. He just go be the black Jews in the whole 9 yards. Now, all of a sudden, they start recognizing them sometime in the 70s and later on in 1985 when they did an airlift, and in 1981 when they started a war in Ethiopia, because it's always the CIA starting these wars. You see, they started the war in Ethiopia, and they go in and say, y'all need a safe haven, we need to get you out of there because you don't know our Jewish brothers. Now, they started courting these Jews at this particular time, the Beta Israel Jews, the real Jews, trying to get them to give up the Ark of the Covenant, which is the only unholy alliance and only alliance that they wanted. They wanted the Ark of the Covenant. Well, you know, we are some of the only few people that would be the people that would that know now that this is the peace. I don't care, you go any place in Africa, except South Africa, because I met some people in South Africa that they come over here and they hear the white man, the devil, they say, oh, that's it, because it's directly under the foot. So I think it takes that kind of oppression. And if you do know that both ends in Africa, South Africa is the ones that's catching hell, and also the brothers over here in the West. And even some parts of the Caribbean, they don't know that the white man is to be still in the king and queen's pocket. You know that whole deal now. Let's not front with this. We know Africa don't want to do but one thing, retreat from Africa and be English and French. And now they're over there getting their ass kicked in France. And in China. Because they don't know. So there's some of the only few people that know that this man is the beast is us. Because we're the ones directly in the belly of the beast. You understand what I'm saying? Directly up the belly of the beast. So now, the brothers in Ethiopia fail to understand one thing. They understand from a religious tradition that we can't give up certain things, but to know that this man is the devil. Now, the key to this is, I said, well, if it's true, did they give it up? So I went into and asked my spiritual sister to give me a channel, and Melchizedek came right through. And said, which is also a form of Aiwas, we'll get into in a few minutes, came right through and said, yes, it is true. They did give up the ark. It changed hands sometime at the end of January. And they did become intellectuals now to the point that, in a way, if it don't come with the book that the white man has documented it, we don't want to believe it. Now the God in the heaven is telling us to tap into the melanin, and they will give us answers, our own answers from the truth. Remember, they say that the interplanetary brotherhood up there and the Council of Star Federation, they operate all of one thing, and to be a member, they all have highly functional pineal glands, which your third eye gives you truth other than logic and rationale. So now, the reason why we still got a fight going with the scholars on truth is because they haven't tapped into their own psychic powers, which were original phenomena of our true self. Now, I asked Melchizedek, was it true? And he said, yes, they did give the Ark of the Covenant up. And this would start World War III. I said, well, what is going to happen? He said, well, two things. One is good and one is bad. The good part about it is, and he said this, now this is the council of elders, Melchizedek, or Aiwas, or Metatron, set over the councils of elders next to God. He is the head archangel, or the head God, which he is a form of the original God. He's in another phase. He can go tap into the original God. That's why they tell me up here we are all one. Now, he said that the beast and the evil powers, now this is one of the head archangel calling this doggone cracker in Israel, and the crackers over here, the evil powers. But we got a problem calling this, but this is what the head angelic host, if we afraid that we won't be godlike if we call the beast the devil. Well, here it is the God that you're trying to get to be, or to try to return, because you all God, you just got to remember, here it is the head God calling them the beast and the devil. He said that the evil powers and this beast, they have received the Ark of the Covenant. He said, but what you know of as Israel, because they have received it, the good thing about that is, because they received the Ark and they are not of the melanin carriers, they are apostle Jews and bloodline Jews. Now their lie have got them in trouble because they've been lying about we the original Jews all the time, and now they're going to get killed for not being the original Jews. He said because they're not melanin carriers and the original Jews, and it was an unholy alliance with the original Beta Israel, they said what you know as Israel will be destroyed. The physical Israel, but we're not even talking, we're talking about the actual. When you talk about that, you talk about government and people, not the landmass. That's our landmass. They talk about these particular people will be destroyed. That's what you know as Israel. When they talk about that, they talk about the government structure that runs Israel. And the people is tapped into the government structure. But since it's a government structure, it's not just Israel. White people all over the world, they had white people is these Jews just running it. You just got the foot soldiers in England and America, but this Jew is tapped into all his people. He's just the head one that was trusted with the knowledge, that he was the first one to receive the knowledge that we had. You see what I'm saying? So when they say Israel, they're talking about all of this is Israel, the unholy Israel. They're talking about America too, because they're all tapped in. We know that because they gave all the stuff to, if they weren't all tapped in, why would they give nuclear capability to South Africa and the whole 9 yards? How they been killing our people the whole time with the diamonds and the whole thing. You see? So now he says will be destroyed. That coincides right with the World War III. You understand? That coincides right. I said, well, what's the bad news? He said, well, the bad news is this, and this is the key to all black people, wherever you are. Talk about on the tongue. Whether you inadvertently don't know about it, or you subjectively do it. It said because the brothers in Ethiopia let go something that precious, they are going to have to pay a penalty too. We're going to kill some of them. You see? So now that is the thing saying if you sell it out now, it is unhealthy to the God. You understand? Anybody selling out now, it will not go unpunished. You see? It will not go unpunished. So now, this is what they're talking about. So, we understand that this has already started happening because on March 1st, which is a form of a 28-day cycle, on March 1st in New York, based on some other stuff that they did, which is the other Arab over there, He also said because this, if it is World War III, I mean, how bad can things get? Now, the key to this is that you must study to know thyself approved, because they are saying that one brother said, well, I think we got another 20 years. What you talking about? Because the Bible prophecies does not come true yet. He said that New World Order has been established. The New World Order been in effect for the last doggone 500 years. Right. This money here is telling the mark of the beast. Well, why can't the dollar bill be the mark of the beast? He just updating that mark of the beast. But why can't the dollar bill be the mark of the beast? Even if it don't have the metal strip in it that it does have now. Any currency at that particular time, you didn't do this when you was doing your stuff. Anything that you turn over your everyday life for, which is your religion, capitalism is your religion. You see what I'm saying? Anytime you do 98% of what you do in the world is done doing the white man's thing and trying to get some money, because all of us want to get paid. You know how that is. You want to get paid. That's why you can't get down with no liberation. This is why you sell it out. Anything that you do 98% of the time, most of the week, and then all of a sudden you're going to come back, and on one day because you feel guilty because you've been out partying all night, you're going to go to some church and hear some doggone Negro holler in your face. You know what I'm saying? That is your God, so he can't get no, this is the mark of the beast. But he's looking for some other stuff and all, but he needs to study not just the Bible. He needs to take the Quran, he needs to take the bottom of Eden, he needs to take the book, put them all together. You understand? Because he who knows one book knows none. Get T.W. Doone's book, Bible Myths and its Parallel. He who knows one book knows none. And even Blavatsky tell you in her book, The Secret Doctrine, there's no religion greater than truth. You see? So this is what we're talking about. Now, I want to ask you something. Anybody got a cake? You see this preacher. He's standing up. I think he can't read no, he's blind. He got this guy behind him. He be preaching all over, and this other guy be behind him hollering, and God said, did you see this fool? I know the white people having a ball. Did y'all see? You all got to see this. What channel this thing? Come on. They got this guy standing up behind him, and he reads out of the Bible, and this guy just, he knows it. That's what they're saying. And this guy back here hollering, and God said, hey, you got to hear this fool. You got to hear it. I can't explain it, but I was totally blown away. As well as this Dale Brahma Negro, as well as all these doggone preachers, white and black. You understand what I'm saying? If you're really down for liberation, separate the chump from the monks. Get out of the doggone church. Get out of the church. That is nothing but wasting your time and keeping you off the path. We know now that the church is sacrilegious. Some of the symbology that they put in is based on Catholicism, which is the mark of the beast, which ain't got nothing to do with you. It's your stuff. Turn around. I say power is power. It's how you exercise. And this is why you get drained, and this is why you can't do nothing. This is why you haven't been able to liberate yourself, because you are in the synagogue of Satan. Those who call themselves Jews are not just referring to those fake Jews, because they're part of that too. But they're talking about black theology that was set up by the white man. It's the synagogue of Satan. I said that my brother went down to the sister in Buford. What's that? The African village. She in part of the African village too. Yeah, went down to see her, and they said they had this church there. And he said that they said when it was abandoned church. Said what? Said when we got out of slavery, everybody had their different religions of African religion that is metaphysical. It can put you on higher states of consciousness and actually do something about your condition by manipulating the forces of the universe. They were all coming there, and they had different ones, and they were practicing this one church. They said what happened was, let that go by. Some of us don't want us to get this going on, because all kind of stuff going on. But I'll be there tomorrow. I think, now.
You ain't got nothing to worry about.
No, I'm not talking about me being worried. I got my back up. I got mine. You got yours too. You just look up in the sky and just distinguish what's a damn star and what's not. That's right. They all around you. And them things turning colors like this and twitching a little bit, they shift. They're not stars. If you look up, the stars are way up. And they set. The ones we talk about, they twitch. And distinguish them from airplanes. Airplanes got two blinking lights like this. We talking about one that hovers and twinkles, and it's got a red and green and yellow. You see that? And it don't go nowhere, but the airplane, if you look at it, it slowly moves. Those are ships. You see what I'm saying? Now, where was I? Anyway, these people set up this their own regular church that you got today and close that one down. And what does that tell you? Then you understand why you were trapped into this foolishness that's going on right now. Now, so like I said also too, look up into this guy. Number one, I gotta say this also too. You need to check this guy Solomon out. Now, I'm not saying the guy is end all and be all to different science, because some things he say about the woman is this old school Islamic stuff that he has learned. But they say that, but I asked the hierarchy, was he all right? They say he on the up and up. But see, the hierarchy has to work with what they got down here, because we all crazy. They even Imam Esau with all his children got a children he had in Dr. Yard singing blues and Christmas songs by the Brother G. He even got to hook up with them. Because they understand they got to work what they got to do. He's got a hierarchy. You see? Hooked up with Melchizedek and stuff like this too. So now this brother Solomon, they say we're going to open up. Now what is Solomon? Solomon is a brother that said he was taught by Master Farah Muhammad in the 24th century. He just stood up in the middle of nowhere, I think in 1990 or whatever. And his thing is this. Now let's quote what he said. Now you, the Nation of Islam has to deal with Solomon on this. They want to take him out. He said, this is his words. He said that Mr. Farrakhan had from 1977 up to 79, 89, to do what he had to do, was reacquaint the people with the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But you know what they said, that he came into power really in 1984 when the whole thing broke down, which is 10 years now. But you didn't know who he was, and you know the nation had started back up. You didn't know who Honorable Elijah Muhammad was, because most of us forget. Until he came back on the scene. You know, Silas started up his thing before that, but all of those was the realm of reacquainting you with Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They said that he had a certain time to speak, and he had an angel with him. This is what this cat is saying. But I want you to be the judge. He had an angel with him. And between the time of 1984 or 87, or the time that you knew him in 84 up to now, when he had his angel till 1989, from 84 to 89, or 87 to 89, he was pumping. He was the baddest thing going. I mean, he was rocking and rolling. Then they say in 1989 he started becoming more political. You know, because in 1990 he started going on these shows, he went all this kind of thing here, and different things, and Sam Donaldson and the whole 9 yards, and then all of a sudden they're saying that he's saying that this angel left him in 1989, and he's supposed to take this thing over. You gotta get this guy. We're gonna break the guy here and answer the question. Well, let me tell you the whole deal. He developed the prostate cancer around 1981, 91. Now, they say that he was up until 1989 and 90, he was pumping. Then all of a sudden, it's now the whole thing with the NAACP and what you call it. Now, I'm not saying nothing, and I'm not talking against my brother, because the hierarchy say don't talk against nobody. You see what I'm saying? Because all our people, we all are one. And we are all the Elohim, so don't talk about nobody. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not so much talking about Mr. Farrakhan, but I just want to ask this question. You know damn well that the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, Al Sharpton, Reverend Bouffant, Colonel Sanders, perm hair wearing nigga, you know that all those people are nothing but the white man's niggas. I don't give a doggone how much candy cloth they put on. I don't give a damn how much African thing they put on. I don't care how much retreats they go to Africa. They still the white man's nigga. My thing is, if you have identified the devil, look at this now. You identify the devil. You know who the devil is. And the devil gets mad at you for speaking out against him being a devil. If you God, you don't owe the devil no explanation whatsoever. So what's the deal with the press conference? Yeah. That's right. Now look at this here now. You know this new stuff that just came out. Now I don't know what's going on. Maybe last night she just named him Farrakhan. So I'm not really saying it's already on the news. The white boys. What he said nothing. Well, the white boys are saying that she's saying that she got ample evidence that he was one of the first, Farrakhan was Martin's death, Malcolm's death. Now, I don't know about all that, you know what I'm saying? Because if the white boy can use a certain person, he's going to do that. You understand? But these are things that we need to address in our minds. So I'm not sacrilegious and against the frequency by telling you that we must analyze everything now, including me. You understand what I'm saying? Never take nothing a person says. And even if you go and even check the books, and I say, and they bear witness, go inside. Now it's time for you to go inside and see what's right and what's wrong. call a book of law, which you can get for $6. You understand? But I don't guess you can read the stuff because it's coded in a certain way. But don't worry about it. If you buy the book of law, I got a doggone glossary that can explain some of the terms in there so you can get by. Also, which I put in this book called Aiwas 93-418 in my new book that I did. That Aiwas had me to do the last 3 days for 6 bones. Now, which I am the editor of, you know, because I know some of y'all niggas, y'all, they say that half the literature that we put out, Negroes or niggas go and buy it and take it right straight to the beach. That's what you got y'all. So I'm just saying this stuff. I am the editor of this. You see, I don't want somebody to bring me up on no plagiarism charges. But this is what Aiwas told me to do because we don't have time to even write no more books. All the stuff is out here. I just got to present it to the people. So this stuff is all decoded. You can't even read this book here. You can't read it. You got to have all the stuff. But I have chosen the material in this book that explains the things that you can read. So get this book instead of all the rest of that stuff because you're just wasting your money. Taking time to study. Now, the whole key is, and I'm not trying to make no sales pitch. I'm telling you what the Spirit told me to do. I started out with 3 pages for a handout, and I ended up with 37 pages. And like I say, it's only $6. But hell, if you got 5, I'll take that. It's not even what you call it. Not even what you call it and stuff. So, you know, I'm just saying, the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm paying for the doggone paper that I bought. You understand that? Now, plus, this is the kind of knowledge that's going to get you out of the stuff. So you need to know what kind of spiritual hookup you got with you. This is being witness to this particular angel that's here on the scene. He's here on the scene now. Now, so, what I'm trying to say is why do we have to explain things? Number one, the whole thing, the premise that the nation has is he's one of the people that's lifting up the masses of the people. Number one, the masses of the people ain't being lifted up. Well, damn. The masses of the people are dead people. You're wasting your masses of people don't do but one thing, and that's die. And number two, the masses of people are popular culture. What sounds good, smells good, sounds good, smells good, looks good, and tastes good. That's what the masses of people is. That's a spiritual dead person. You can't lift up the dead. Now, the dead have to wake up, like I said, you don't wake up at the same time in the morning. So some of these people is out here dead, they're not going to wake up by the word you give them. I got a roommate, I'll bear with you, that's here every day and still talking about 20 years from now when my child grows. I'm saying, man, see what I'm saying? He still don't understand and can quote what I say. Now, that person can hear what you say, quote what you say, and still it does not internalize. So now the masses of people, because they come at 55,000 people, that's a Michael Jackson concert to them. And half the damn people was mad because he didn't come up talking junk about the white man when he came in Atlanta. And they was mad because he didn't give them no show. That's the same as the doggone Baptist preacher in the Baptist church. If the preacher can't holler good and hoop good, they got to get rid of it. Because we are into doggone entertainment. And that's all that the masses of the people are doing. So you ain't uplifting no masses of the people. You're not uplifting no masses of the doggone people. You understand what I'm saying? So now, what we talking about here? So, but on the other hand, it's keeping the people from the real science of what you're supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? And this facade of being joined with all these preachers, I don't want to be joined with all no doggone preachers. I don't want Jesse Jackson, who done slept with the beast, done blow skin flute for the beast. Excuse me, but I'm saying what it is. He's the white man's nigga, and he gets whooped in the behind by the white man. To me, that's a faggot. He might not be a physical faggot, but that's a faggot. In a political sense. You see what I'm saying? In a spiritual sense. You see what I'm saying? He's a white man's nigga. The white man's bed boy. So now that's what we're talking about here, you know. That's what we're talking about here now. So what I'm saying is this. So this is the kind of thing. So this is the kind of thing. Either we taking the beast off the planet, or we getting into more political things so we can feel good. Feel good about our liberation. You see, that's what happened with the whole Afrocentric thing. You know, now we learn all the history. We the pharaohs. Yeah. Okay, we the pharaohs. And we know we only want to use that to feel good, so when we get around the white people, we can say, well, we were pharaohs in Egypt in the whole 9 yards, because they talking about England and all that. But we talking about coming into the world. This is the kind of time we're talking about. Did you change the tape over, man? Okay, cool. Now, because I'm getting ready to go into Aiwas. I'll get ready to go into Aiwas. Okay, hold on 1 minute. Now, listen, because I want to go in this. Just hold that for 1 minute, and we'll get into this now. Okay, hold on 1 minute. Now, we got to speed this thing up, because I know it's hot in here, in the whole 9 yards, you know. But this is what's going on. Okay, and we got to pick up a donation also too. So all you people, because this is paying for the whatchamacallit and all this stuff, so I can go and produce some more books. But we need to take up a donation also too. Anything you can spare. If you ain't got it, cool. We'll have this thing go, okay? All right, that's how the thing goes. Because you got it in and all. We're not trying to charge you or whatever. If you didn't have it, you don't have to have it. You shouldn't be subjugated to not getting the knowledge you don't have. But if you got it, boom. Whatever. Now this is the key. Let's go into this Aiwas. The white boys in how many is this now? Three? Will you pass them out? Okay, well, hold on 1 minute. We got to stop this right quick because it's slowing me down. Y'all let's hold up 1 minute and all. See, I don't want to put this on the tape because you know how it is. They put money on the tape and all. Your kids is coming, they're not scared. You can't be that same shuffling Negro that we produced before that's still selling out to the beast and you see them all over. You know what I'm saying? Now let's look at the science on this. It's saying, oh, Minister Farrakhan, we noticed you cleaned up the dope and you got some black people off the streets and you have raised some black people's life to a certain level and you are really lifting up black people. But you talked about the doggone Jews, some white beasts, who we don't have a covenant with, never did, so therefore we gotta cut you off. That is letting you know that this sick mentality, black Uncle Tom, got to go. And it means you cannot fall into that with the same mentality. You got to be strong. Number one, the stuff that we give here, number one, we gotta realize one thing. There's nothing sacrilegious about it. There's no such thing as hell. I told you about the hell concept on my tapes before. It was inducted into the Bible 100 years before the birth of Christ, the historical. So now we understand that hell concept is talking about of science as far as levels of your mind. You are in hell. Pitchfork. Those are fairy tales. We know that this particular hell that they talk about, this white man has outshined him by leaps and bounds. He has done things that's not even recorded in the Bible. And the little bit of stuff that they tell you about this particular Satan in the Bible, the little bit of stuff that they tell you. So now, if you living with the beast, you don't need to be feared. You don't need to fear nothing. You understand what I'm saying? That's going on. And number one, we gotta say too that Allah, Osar, Heru, all of them are one, and you got to get it. Because it ain't really even talking about those. You are the gods. If you don't get the concept that ye are gods, they're not looking for believers no more. They're looking for Elohim to take your place as the God. If you don't do it, the other people are trying to take it for you. They getting in slots that you're supposed to get. You are the gods. This is not written in your law. Ye are gods, John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36. Just as I have done greater works, you shall do. You see what I'm saying? Be ye perfect as I am. Like I said before, there can't be two perfects. If he's saying I'm God, and you be ye perfect like I am, he's saying that you got the same. Now we know that you are the God. So what is there to fear? Okay? So now when the white man start giving you certain terminologies and stuff like, I don't want to deal with that. Look, the only dark side is ignorance. In Egypt, they call ignorance is evil. They say, he is ignorant, so teach him. Ignorance is evil. You see. Each day you live is the day you're supposed to learn something, and the day that you don't learn something is the day that you don't live. So therefore, we got a race full of dead people. Now, we're not talking about learning something, which we mean like this. You know how you learning something that you already know. You know the church will give you the amen. Well, hell, if you already knew it, well, you amen it. I didn't know that. So the call and response supposed to be, I didn't know that. But if you amen to something, that means he's telling you something that you want to hear and not nothing that you need to hear. That's ignorance polished over ignorance, a man accured fool. You see, this is what it is. So, so now this is what time it is. Now, let's go into this particular God that is on the scene right now and is connected with me and is connected with you. Now I'll tell you the part with my being witness with this particular person. God is with us and he is on the scene now. Well, I say without sheep, because we understand that he's just the second phase. He's a reflection of his mother. His mother is the one that produced that. So when you say, why don't thank God when yeah, the mother, no, we're talking about the mother of God. So don't worry about that. When I say he, we talking about a second position. Tells the degree. Now, in the early, late 1800s, the white man had come into a sense of civilization as far as him being a certain amount of intellectuals that he could comprehend a certain amount of things. So you got a hierarchy of gods that say, well, in that case, we're going to start teaching you and trying to get you to do right and get you a time continuum. Because in less than 50-something years, it's going to wipe you out. You know, Aiwas talks about that the white man time was up when he got an extension. So that Blavatsky, who was a Russian, a black Russian as that, because she had melanin, because she tapped into some people calling her Atmas. Blavatsky started opening up the floodgates and the door to the Western, start teaching her Western brothers of some things. But she was introduced to this by a black man by the name of H.P. Randolph, who traveled with Abraham Lincoln and who was the first occultist and taught all the other ones. It was a black man who traveled all the way into Hemmitt and all, and got a book called Sexual Magic, which there's several books he had. They just printed that one, which, because you know there's something that's based on this sexual stuff is the same power that is the power of God if you know how to utilize it. You see, there's a whole thing in that. Cultivating that sexual energy, because this is the actual energy that rises the kundalini, the same sexual energy. That's why it feels so good when you do it. And you can't get enough of it. Once you start, you can't stop. That's what I'm saying. Now, because it's the same energy that you are feeling when you say God, the energy that you feel with sex is a form of that energy, which is the greatest thing we know of. So this is what, so he wrote a book called Sexual Magic, which is H.P. Randolph, which was the teachers of these other white people. But Blavatsky, she was connected with some people called the secret chiefs, or the Sufi masters, which the hierarchy of the Sufi master is called a Qutel. The Qutel, which is the secret chief and the ruling forces of the planet. So now she's connected with them. She dies, and her people who try to take on her son, one of the greatest persons was C.W. Ledbetter. And Annie Besant, both Blavatsky and Annie Besant was both 33rd degree Masons, and these are two women. So it ain't no sense, even though you don't even need the Prince Hall thing, that's a joke book. It ain't got nothing to do with the true knowledge at all. That's just that ain't no different than the AKAs or some old ladies bridge club. That's the same thing. All they doing drinking, looking, driving, cabin. They ain't got the real knowledge. Are you 33rd Mason? Are you a Shriner? Did you learn this kind of knowledge in the Mason?
Absolutely not.
All right then, so don't even let them niggas front you know more about that. I'm a doggone Mason myself. Prince Hall, Boaz, and you can get the book. I suggest all you women go and get Captain E.M. Morgan's Freemasonry Exposed and learn all the signs and the symbols and the groups and the handshake and all the degrees, so you can go up on brothers and start doing their stuff on them. Get the book Captain E.M. Morgan Freemasonry Exposed, or you can go and get you the Duncan's Ritual. We can get some down in Black Media and we can expose that bullshit because it ain't got nothing to do. That is the bylaws of the lodge, but it ain't got nothing to do with the real science. You see, yeah, that buffalo from Fred Gemstone. Now, that's right. That is, Hiram will steel this. So she got hooked up and they started giving them things, and so when she died, you had Ledbetter, who gave you books like the Astro Planes, Hidden Life of Freemason, which you can learn a lot of stuff by his books. The Diva-Shanic planes, talking about the high levels of these particular planes of the hierarchy, or the gods, or the Elohims, which is the same angelic forces you know of in your Bible and stuff. Well, they're still around and they're ruling stuff right now. And they are the rulers of this planet. Anyway, she died and they lost contact. This Theosophical Society. Then came the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, these other white boys from England, and they did things with McGregor Mathers, Francis Yates, and the different other people, and Aleister Crowley was a young initiate in his early 20s in this particular Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Now, they lost contact also after they did so much stuff to get their stuff together and they didn't complete the cycle. They lost contact also. Then this guy by the name of Aleister Crowley, which I'll show you, well, guy by the name of Aleister Crowley, they say he was a reincarnate of an Egyptian priest. Because we know that 15% of white people ain't white people. You see what I'm saying? You know, you got the black presidents, they are black people. Some of them got blue eyes, but they got melanin. God is reincarnating into people. We now know that Jeremiah is right, this stuff was in fact had this particular melanin because he tapped into psychic forces that explained the Egyptian mythology to tell you that they were black, which the other ones were racist. So now, this man claims to be this particular Egyptian priest who vowed that one day his stuff would come in a later state and return his teachings. Anyway, he was a priest of Amun-Ra in Thebes. Now, he said he was a reincarnated of this person. Later on, he found out. He was a part of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. One day, while honeymooning in 1904, he goes to Cairo, Egypt, or Hemmitt. His wife starts going into these trances, and she says that Heru or Horus is waiting for you. Heru and Horus is waiting for you. The next day, he got her up and took her to a museum in Hemmitt and said, I want to know what was summoning you, what was calling you. And it's this particular stela, this slate that I got on the front of the book with this picture of Heru and this black priest that you can see as a black priest that was summoning her. You can pass this around if you want to show the people. And please return it and stuff. Last time we passed something around, the Negroes had to catch it and walking out the door. Even stealing inconscious, you know ain't no hope. So they even say to have us is hypocrites and imposters. Now, he got up on this stela and he found out, so he took this stuff and translated the hieroglyphs, took it back, and set up a ritual to Heru. He set this ritual up to Heru in the room with his wife that night. And once he set it up, and I got a short bibliography that I'll print in my next book. I'm going to do a new book next week, and I have some new books out. So now, save you some money. You get a little $5 books to give you all the signs. So now, he set up this ritual with his wife. This blue-black god named Aiwas came into the room. And he came into the room. He said he came over his left shoulder. And this is the actual results, which is printed in also the book that I just gave you to give you this. He said that he seemed to be a tall, dark man in his 30s. Now y'all listen to this now, because I'm going to explain some stuff in a few minutes later on about some stuff that is happening to me. So just keep close to this. He seemed to be a tall black man in his 30s, well-knit, attractive, strong, with the face of a savage king. That means that when they say savage, he's explaining an African king. They say a savage. You know how that is. You know the European and all. And his eyes were veiled as if you gazed into them, they would destroy what they saw. His dress was not Arab. It suggested Assyria or Persia. Very vaguely. I took note of it. Now this is something. You know what I'm saying? This is how the things work and stuff. You see, things is happening. The beast don't want things happening. He said, I took note of it. He said, For it looked to me like that time Aiwas was an angel. So far I had often seen in visions, but purely astral. Now I incline to believe that Aiwas was and is not only a god or a devil. Now keep this up now, because this word devil is very important. I'm trying to give you stuff on a high level. We ain't in church no more, so you can deal with this stuff. God, devil, who once in holy summer, he was once held holy in summer, and my own holy guardian angel. I told you you all have higher selves. Each one of you exists on another realm. You see, that's why you have been coming into consciousness, because your higher self, once you raise the kundalini in your crown chakra, you get into your higher self, you're supposed to change on this other self. You exist on other realms, and this is the people that's directing you as you go on right now. While you are sitting in here, other than being out somewhere dedicated to the preservation of shaking your booty. Okay, now, he said, my own holy guardian angel. But, now this is the key now. He's telling you right here, now listen. But also a man, as I am, insofar he uses a human body to make his link with mankind, or man, on whom he loves. And he is the epistomous head of the AA. Remember that word AA. I'm explaining it in a minute. We're talking about stuff on the hierarchy. I do not necessarily mean as a member of the human society, quote, in a normal way. He might rather be able form himself a human body. That means he can create a human body based on his circumstances, which indicates from appearance the elements, and dissolve it when the occasion is done. He can say he come into the earth plane, he can pick up a human body, he can do the work he has to do, and he can resolve it once this work is done. Okay, you got that? When the occasion is done, for it is to pass. I say because I have permitted to see him in recent years a variety of physical appearance, all quaintly material in the sense in which my own body is so. Now, number one, he's saying that this is a god. Number one, he told you he was a tall black man. But he said he is a god. Now, this is bearing witness to what all about. He's talking about you. But he's talking about this god. Now, the quote, I said he was the epistomous head of the AA. Now, the AA means Ostrom, the silver star, the great white brotherhood. Talk about the crown chakra, not white people. The great white brotherhood, according to which Aiwas or Melchizedek is the head of. Okay? Now, is the head of. I'll explain what the AA is in a few minutes. Now, in the book I got here, it says, in a summons, this particular guy. Now, he started writing down what this guy said. Now, he's writing this stuff down. Now, this is the same kind of stuff that's going on that happened to Muhammad, you see, which is a bridge. Muhammad is Europe had went into dark ages after the mystery system had closed. Muhammad writes down in the Islam, which is the indigenous African religion, is established again in the Islamic phase, which is nothing but the old religion. You see. Now, it's established again, and the Moors of Spain go up into Europe and get the beast out of the dark ages. We always got to take the beast and put him up on a pedestal, because since we made him, as the Temple of General said, we are responsible for him. You see what I'm saying? He just ended up being responsible for us in a destructive way, in a dependent way on us. We got to shake that. Now, so this guy comes down, and he's giving him a new book, which is the Book of Law. He writes, I think, 21 pages. And he's writing this stuff, and which would take a person, the kind of stuff that he wrote in the book, which would take a person days to do, he did in a couple of hours, each period of each day. Between the April, it was in 1904, between April 8th, 9th, and 10th. Key days, because stuff is going right now. Now, y'all stay with me, because this is a lot of technical stuff, and I got to do a lot of reading. But I'm already in the spirit to do it, so. Now, and which I have put the actual point in the particular book. So you don't have to go out and try to find books that's out of print and all this. So you can come and buy this type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? I've done the legwork. Now, so he starts writing this book. And he writes all this particular book. And once he writes this book, he takes it back to England, and this particular slate that I got with the brother, your brother, when you pass that around, I'm not saying you don't have to, but when you pass around, people can see it. There's two Egyptologists, Alan H. Gardner, who give you the Chester Beatty papyrus, who translate that to talk about the devil, translated it again, and it's accurate. The actual slate in the hieroglyphics is accurate. This is what set up the actual book. But the book is not on the slate. The book comes from this angelic black man. Now remember now, that Muhammad was given the Quran. Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells you that Muhammad is given the Quran by a blue-black man instead of this angel. Gabriel is a blue-black man, and so Alistair Crowley, they said, well, who is this Aiwas? He said he's none other than supposedly the same angelic form that gave Muhammad the Quran in the same manner. But he's a blue-black man. So when Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it was a blue-black man other than this spook. You see what I'm saying? Other than this spook. Here's a man comes back round that had bear witness to it almost damn near 30 years before Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it. You see, because this is going to set up after they got their book on what they got to do. Then in the 20s and the 30s, then our spiritual gods start rising up. Noble True Ali, Marcus Garvey, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Big Daddy, Father Divine, Daddy Grayson, the whole 9 yards. And that becomes, you see, but they had to give them the orders, and then we had to gradually start lifting ourselves up. Okay? So Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it's a blue-black man. In here, he's saying the same thing, but it's an angelic form, which means that the gods can materialize and dematerialize. You see what I'm saying? Not only are they angelic, but they're also currents where they can throw their body for millions of miles, which is a current that's on the earth. Key? Now, and we'll get into the makeup of this particular person. Now, he goes into this particular book, the Book of Law, which we're going to have a couple of copies for $6. Down, they only cost $6. We have it up at Black Media. We're gonna get them next week. You go pick up one. You might not know what you're reading, but I'll give you a bibliography on it that you can understand what's going on. But I'll explain all the stuff in the tape. You just get the tape. Now, in the book it says this. It says we have brought. It says in this summons. It says on April 8th, 9th, and 10th in 1904. This book is dedicated to Alistair Crowley by Aiwas, a being whose nature does not fully understand, but describes himself as the minister of Heru Par-Krut, Lord of Silence. Now that Heru is supposed to be, and I talked in the first half, it's supposed to be the Messiah, not only the ancient Egyptians, but it's supposed to be the Messiah of the Hebrews, which they have mistaken for the other Jesus who was 6,000 years, but the one that's coming back now, he's not coming back as no spook, but number one, in Ecclesiastes, he's coming back with a sword in his hand. You understand? So he ain't coming back to teach. He's coming back to slave. But the key to this whole person is he's coming back as one of you. I explained that. Get my other 2 videos before this. I got one coming out Monday called The Rise of Heru and the Extraterrestrial Confederation. Get that tape. That person is on the planet. He's one of us because we're the most, we're the ones that lost our minds totally. So the Messiah is coming up in the West. As I explained so many times in the laws of COwrie and in your Bible where they talk about you will be afflicted in 400 years, which is the prophetic history. Okay? Now, he said he is the minister of this particular God that is coming up. Now, this is the key to this whole thing. The religions that we have, other than the actual Quran, which was later to our times, which was the last one. This particular one, this particular same Book of the Dead, right here, which is the oldest book that we know, would be the one that would rise up again as the Book of Law, which is the same Book of the Dead. Some of the passages is out of this. So what it is saying is that this is the last book to rise up again, and the prophet of this book was the original prophet, which Jesus Christ and the whole other prophets fashioned themselves after, if we're not talking about another later explanation of the same one prophet. Are y'all understanding? So that means that the actual nature of this God, Heru, which is a blue-black God, which will rise up in the West, is the ones that this particular book was summoning. Okay? Now, it says the contents of this book is of scientific demonstration that possesses knowledge of power quite beyond that anything has been associated with the human faculties. It's called the Book of Law, announces the new law for mankind. It replaces the old moral religions and sanctions of the past, which has everyone broken down by the principles valid for each man and woman in the world, is a self-evident, evidentially identified. What he's saying this book replaces moral law. Remember I told you before that what happened to your religion is, other than the religion that Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Noble True Ali and them was trying to tell you was, those religion now is just giving you moral teachings that you're supposed to learn and supposed to know at the age of 12. You don't need to dabble in it every Sunday for the rest of your life. You children and you need to grow up. So this book is replacing it, but this book is actually talking about, when it breaks it down, it's talking about the breakdown of the black man and woman's body and how you get in touch and cultivate your spiritual centers and rise up to godhood. Okay? Ignorance of the true meaning of the law has led to gross anarchy. It is conscious in its power, in a sense, the sole cure of political and social and racial unrest, which has brought about world war, catastrophe of Europe and America, and threatening China, India, and Islam. Now when they say China and Islam, they talk about all the nations of the world, and they talk about, when they say Islam, they talk about that white devil over there, this taking Islam and using it as a utility to cut off black people's heads and do all kind of hideous things. Okay? Now, it says, come forth, all you in the name of the Lord of the Eon, crowned and conquering child, Heru Raha, I call ye to partake in the sacrament. No will dare be silent. And now, it said crown and conquering child. So some of you rosters that know what we're talking about, it's the same as the crown and conquering Lord of Judah, which is the same as when you break all the other ones down, it's talking about the actual Messiah in all of the religions, but it's talking about Heru. Everybody with me so far? Okay, now let's go on. Let's go on. I'm just reading stuff out of the book. Now, let's do this. He's called a preter-human intelligence. Is a messenger of the most ancient God who was worshipped in the desert under the name of Shaitan long earlier as Set, the soul of the double Horus. Remember I told you there is a first good blue black God Set. This is this particular one. Now the word Shaitan comes from the word Set, On. And On means land, or the city of On also. Now, it ain't talking about the Satan that you know of, because the Satan that you know of, you go to work for every day. It ain't talking about that. That's the living one. This is the white man saying that this particular God is Satan to them, meaning it's going to be the end of our behind, so he is our devil. Check. Everybody got that? Now, he's explaining something about this angel that reappears later on in life. This angel reappears later on. He first got this book and he didn't even believe he had gotten this thing. He didn't even believe in it in a couple of years. But the angel came and beat him down and made him believe in this thing. Now, this angel reappears. But when the angel reappears, when he talks about what is happening to the angel, you got to look into an esoteric meaning of what you are made out of. This is the key to this stuff. Now, I say the angel reappears. Blackness gathers about so thick, so clinging, so penetrating, so oppressive, that all other darkness that I have conceived of would look like a bright light beside it. His voice comes in a whisper, "Oh, are I the master of the 50 gates of understanding? Is not my mother a black woman? O thou art I the master of the pentagram, the star. And is not the egg of a spirit a black egg?" He's talking about melanin. You see, this is one of the keys to this thing. He's talking about melanin. Now, he is the original Darth Vader. Remember I told you that the Holy Kabbalah, only is one of the spheres that's called Darth. This is where the white man got Darth Vader from in Star Wars. Go back and look at all the science fiction movies because they drop in science. You see, and he got Darth Vader from. This particular God is the original Darth Vader, but he is not the enemy to you. He is the enemy to the white man, which they dress him all in black and give him the James Earl Jones name. Right? And they say that the Death Star is approaching. That Death Star is serious and is approaching to the white people. Okay? That particular Death Star, which is the destruction star in your Holy Quran, which is you got two pieces of religious literature that give you the same science. The Book of the Dead and the Holy Quran both talks about this star. It's just that they wiped it out in Hebrewism for some reasons and whatever, but it's also the Star of David, you see, and it's also the Star of Bethlehem. The same star. But in the Holy Quran, it tells you he is the Lord who created both male and female from one single ejaculated semen and will create all things anew. He is the Lord of Sirius, the Surah of the star, this particular angel is the impissumous head of the AA, and the AA means the silver star, and the silver star is that of Sirius. This particular Aiwas is the head of it. He's also known as Melchizedek in the Bible, or Metatron, also in the Holy Kabbalah. So now this Darth Vader is showing you the nature of this destructive thing, which they call the devil, and which they call Satan. Remember? Which they call Satan. They give you the weak white Jesus, which is their God, but is your Satan. Check. Our Satan is not only talking about this God that's on the planet, but it is talking about the makeup of the black man and woman, the melanin, which is the death of white people.
That's right.
Check. Everybody all right? Now, spitting all over the place. Let's go on. All right. Let's do this and get through some things. Now, it says that Aiwas is a link or a corridor through which the impulses was transmitted, the source of extraterrestrial consciousness. This Aiwas was a messenger of forces that rule the present planet and the earth at this present time. Y'all with me? He was a messenger of the ruling forces of the earth. The location of his source of nature of those forces or gods, mythical, is concealed in El. The name of this book is called El. The name of this book is called El, which is the first part of Allah, which the key to this book is the number 31, which was broken by a guy by the name of Frater Atchett, which was the spiritual son to Aleister Crowley. Broke the key, which is the number 31, and the number 31 3 times adds up to number 93, which is also Aiwas. But the key to this is El. There's another part called El, which means God. The other part is called La, which means nothing. From nothing you get the absolute. The nothing is the triple blackness of space that creates all, which is the key to this particular science, okay? Now, let's go on. Let's go on. Because I got a lot of reading to do and a lot of out-of-print material that I brought for you, but with luck, if you get this particular one tomorrow, whenever you get it, we can do some things. Okay, now, let's see, page 71. Let's do this. All right. Well, let's go on. Let's see. Page 57. And do some reading. Try to set up the basis of what's getting ready to go down there. Y'all stick with me. Aiwas is the ancient Egyptian god called Bes, which is a form of Ptah, which is the first primordial god of all times, Ptah, which is another formula of the god Sut. You just know him as Ptah if you have been studying ancient Egyptian mythology. It says in ancient Egypt, the first anthropomorphic representation, succession in long procession in the zoodomorphic deity. They're talking about, they show him as a actual animal god to show you the nature of this thing, which you all have the nature of the animals if you put them all together. Okay? The deities was the god Bes, the dwarf god. Okay? Church ward, average church ward denotes that Ptah or Bes, the human likeness, was not given until the god of Atum Horus or Amen, of the son of Ptah, of the earliest divinities of the perfect human form. It furthermore says that this god of summer, the dwarf god of Vas, was probably the origin of Aiwas, Bes, which is talking about this particular god of summer that actually came up out of Hemmitt. Okay? Y'all with me? Now, let's go on. Let's see what's going on. Now, I want to show you something. Remember I was telling you before that this particular blue-black god Soot, he came up out of Hemmitt and he went to all of the nations around. He traveled into Samaria, which was a colony of ancient Hemmitt, Mesopotamia, and all of this particular time. Now, it says that he is a reflection, this Aiwas is a reflection of the god Soot. A reflection of Set in the south is the concentration of energy concealed, the force illuminating the northern darkness. He is the primal astral god of Sirius, the dog star, the revealer of Nut, which is the triple blackness of space. Mystically speaking, he is the revealer of nothing, and therefore the god with the path of supreme attainment. From the nothing you get the absolute. Okay? Now, this is what he is now. During the periods of the early migrations from Egypt in summer, the worshippers of Soot took their god with them and became charged or changed with this word shaitan, which is not talking about the devil that you think of under the ground. It's talking about it's what later day religions that could not understand the science got this stuff from. That particular god, that Satan that you're talking about, is on top of the ground. Now, and I'm going to explain what the true Satan is at the end of the lecture, what's really going down. You got to stick with this stuff. Satan is their god. Now, it said the yesterday is the name of these groups. Like the Jews were forbidden to utter the name of this god. In consequence, the true meaning was lost. Okay, now, the true meaning was lost. Now, what happened was, this particular god of the yesterdays was the most primordial god of all time. He was in the Book of the Dead, he was called the primordial leader that fell behind he fell into the horizon. His name was Soot, and he was the god from Sirius. What happened was, black people, by the time we got on the planet, to the time we ended up, all we had to do was keep track of the time. And keeping track of the time, you could have the power from when you first got on the planet up to then. The black man and woman lost track of the time and started falling deeper and deeper into time. It ended up falling under the hands of this beast. You see? Now, so in the Book of the Dead, they talk about this Soot or Set was the first leader in the Book of the Dead that fell behind the horizon. Now, they said that in this, and this go Albert Churchward's in Evolution, Origin of Religion, notes that Set or Soot was looked upon as the fallen leader of the angelic host. Now, when they say fall, go get the Book of Enoch when they talk about the fallen angelic leaders. That's talking about you, the fallen gods. It ain't the fallen gods. They just change around as this devil in the Bible as a fallen leader. They're talking about you, the fallen gods. You see. So when they say Soot, not only are they talking about this primordial deity, they're talking about black people, because the derivative of the word Soot comes the word Sut or Smut, which means the black one. Right. You see. Now, this angelic, so it says he's looked on as the fallen leader of the angelic host, who had been first in glory in ruling power under primacy of the station of the pole. The pole star is Sirius. This is he that was worshipped by the yesterday of Mesopotamia, who says there is to be a restoration as well as a fall. Now we talk about this first blue-black god rising up again, but it's not only rising up as this particular god, it's also rising up as the black people, because they're talking about melanin. But the restoration that was supposed to rise up, they're saying that the restoration that Aleister Crowley, when he received this book from Aiwas, the Book of Law, started the rise of the black man again, because this being one of the first books, is the book that is supposed to, all of your other book is bearing witness, was supposed to rise again. It's talking about you getting your particular nation back, okay? He is a reflection of this god Soot. Now, what's happening is, you also have the god Krishna is also the dark one also. It says right here, it says that the sole subject of all objects, Krishna himself is called the black one, which is Sut, the son of the mother, which is also represented as Sirius. Krishna is also called Hare Krishna. Krishna means the black god. Hare means the star Sirius. When you talk about this Krishna, they say Hare Krishna. Now you got the white people around the airports worshiping. That's the blue black god from Sirius, which is the old god. It is also too. Okay, y'all ready? Now, going on, let's see. It says that there's an eon that is coming on, in this eon that they're talking about. When the guy gave this book, he said the world goes in certain eons. He said first you had the eon of the mother goddesses. Then you had the eon of Osiris that's talking about the father goddesses. And between that eon, it not only lasted from Osiris, but it lasted Jesus and all the gods that died, you know, you had this physical death. Osiris was dead. All these gods took place in that eon. He said, and the third eon is called the eon of Heru, the sun rising up. Now, Heru is none other than the blue-black god, because Osiris is called God of the perfect black. Heru got cut up into 14 pieces, which was put in the Ark of the Covenant. You remember that, the first chest of Osiris. He rises up again and judges the people, but he rises up as his son Heru. You got that? This is Osiris. Okay. Now, these eons of the mother Isis, the father Osiris, was given way to the crown and conquering child Heru. In one phase, Horus in one phase, and Set in another. The formula of Horus is called Ra-Ha-Kahuti. The formula of Set is called Ha-Pa-Krut, whose minister is Aiwas. The eon of Horus, the eon of Osiris are one, Set and Nut are one. The product of these two forces, the certain secretion, will prove to be the manifestation of Nut, which is the triple blackness of space, which will occur at the end of time. Now, which is synonymous with Kali. We are in what is called the black cycle, the Kali Yuga. California is also called California, which the black cycle, and this is why the destruction is happening in California, because California is from the goddess Kali, and it's supposed to be the first destruction that will signal other destructions that's going on. Everybody with me? Aiwas, Melchizedek, Metatron, Adani, Heru-Pa-Krut, Ra-Ha-Kahuti are all melanin chaos angelic beings. Melanin chaos. When you study Richard King, he tells you that chaos is a form of melanin. We rose up from the primordial womb or waters of chaos, which forms everything. In the beginning, there's chaos. So you can create stars and all of this stuff. That's called chaos. This is the key to melanin also. It's talking about this particular chaos that's going on. You see, the actual melanin chaos that they talk about, this Satan or this devil is talking about chaos melanin, which the white boy, they call black magic, which the white boy is dealing with some stuff now called chaos magic, which is dealing with melanin and trying to get on certain realms of melanin in his mind. You see what I'm saying? This is these ethers that they're talking about. Okay? Now, according to Alistair Crowley, Aiwas is a messenger from the forces of the earth that rule the earth at its presence. The kind of forces is superior to any human race. Well, hell, we are superior to any human race. This is our brothers and sisters on the hierarchy. Aiwas is therefore a type of extraterrestrial intelligence such as we may expect to come into consciousness in the forces that contact as eons develop. Okay? Now, this particular angelic host that is on the scene as we talk at this particular time. Now, let me go into some other science right quick to show you. All right. The hidden God is called Amen, which is your hidden self. Which you get all your things, which is your hidden self. It's also called Sut, which means that the soul that is hidden is black. Remember that now, which is melanin. It's also called soot, which the soul which is hidden is black, which in alchemy, now I talk about this alchemy, where it says that before the soul of man can be exalted, he must be humble before he can ascend to heaven. He must walk for 3 days through hell. Hell is it ain't talking about the hell that you know of, the whole hell that the cracker was trying to tell you and keep you away from with the darkness of your melanin. He has to go through 3 days of hell. This is the condition of the alchemical blackness, whose central darkness extends over 3 days and nights, and even through the total darkness of 40 that lasts for 40 days. Even Jesus remained for 40 days after his resurrection on earth before he ascended to heaven. Therefore, you must go through the gate of darkness before you can ascend to paradise or white, which is the great white brotherhood, which is heaven. They're talking about this particular melanin that they call hell. The hell that you've been worshiping against in the doggone church that the cracker told you was all against yourself. This is why he tell you that heaven is up under the ground, because he know up under the ground is the blue-black gods in the subterranean worlds. He's trying to keep you away from that. That's why the pharaohs used to bury themselves deeper, because that was seen as heaven. Okay? As a form of heaven. It is the microcosmic heaven on this earth. There is a later heaven there's the other heaven on other realms. But the one we're talking about that you got to get to, which the Nation of Islam and Honorable Elijah Muhammad was instrumental with the mothership, was to get the people to the subterranean world, which you can go in different points of the earth. You see, which your people are the rulers, and then there's a whole other atmosphere of spiritual heaven, which on all planets, they say the white man tell you this planet is the only one with people on it. But it's not. But he was right, because the other ones got people in it. The most superior people live in the planet instead of on the planet. That's why the Egyptians talked about the underworld of Osiris, the Amenta, the desert of Set, but it's not talking about an evil death. They're talking about the actual world, and it's the desert to the white boys. You see? Everybody with me? Everything all right? Now, okay, let's go on. The Star of Babylon is the star of Sirius, which is also the star in the Quran. You see how these terms, how we've been getting these terms, Babylon, the beast, and all this kind of stuff. And the beast is talking about the Kundalini, which is at the base of your spine when it rises up. It kills all of that on a lower matter. And the illusionary world disappears and the real world begins. You see these terminologies? Now, it says that COwrie identifies his holy guardian angel as Aiwas, which he also identifies his holy guardian angel as the star of Sirius, because all of that is one and the same. Y'all all right? Everything all right? Okay, now, in the Book of Law, it reports that Egyptian god Hermachis, or Haramakit, which is Horus on the horizon, which symbolizes the number 19 that Sister Tanina Muhammad was talking about in the Nation of Islam, which is also called Allah on the both horizons, which is also talking about the black man and black woman on both horizons, because we understand that the Kaaba represents the first Adam. We also understand that the beast went into Mecca in the early 1900s and stole a piece of it. When they got it back to the labs, they found out that it breaks down to the same melanin, which is the Kaaba, that they go and worship. They're worshiping the black god. This is the Ka, and the inside soul is the Ba. If they say that Kaaba is both black stone, they mean that the soul is black also too, which is talking about melanin. That's why when they had alchemy and the doggone Moors of Spain had to go up and they had to create souls for the white man in alchemy, which the primordial part of alchemy, the end stage, is called the great works, which is melanin, which is a word in there called Negrito, which is talking about the dying stage, which is also talking about the Osiris, the dead Osiris is laid dead in a mummy, and then he rises up as a butterfly. You can't rise up not unless you got the particular melanin. Haramakit is the name of Horus of the star. Hermachis is described by Aiwas of being beyond the present eon, and Sirius is behind the sun. Sirius is the sun behind the sun. Jesus, or Jeheshua, was also called Jesus of the flaming star. His primordial past was Haramakit, which means Horus of the star, the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as Jah, the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as Atan, which is the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as Medura-Atan, which is the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as Metatron, which is the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as Adani, which is the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as Melchizedek, which is the sun in Sirius, which is also represented as the crown and conquering Lord of Judah, which is the sun in Sirius, which is also this blue-black god, which is the Sphinx, that sits in the middle of the earth, which is on Mars, also in the exact circumference, and Heru, his god, his planet is Mars, which is also called Melchizedek, and Aiwas, who is at the head of this whole thing. These gods correspond. They are all one. They are not angels, they are gods. You understand? Everybody all right? Okay. The star of Horus is the star of Babylon, the sixth-ray star of the planet Saturn, or Set, that rules Aquarius in the 11th house of the zodiac. Aquarius is in the constellation of the influence of Horus, the sun, and reaches man during the present eon. Saturn, therefore, is the power behind Venus, as Sirius is the power behind the sun. These two great stars, Set and Horus, therefore symbolically are identical in a way that Venus is transcended into Sirius in a celestial sense. Our sun goes around the sun every 365 days. Our sun goes around a greater sun called Sirius every 26,000 years, 25 to 26,000 years, which is called a great year, called the end of an eon, that they call the end of the world in the Bible. So now, Saturn is also a part of this, because Saturn is part, the planet Saturn, the breakdown of the planet Saturn, it is the black planet, and it is a planet of melanin, which they call Saturn in metaphysics the devil. They call it Satan, which is Saturn, the devil. There's a book I call Saturn, a new look at the old devil. And the breakdown of this in the Kabbalah is that of melanin. You see how they've been running these games on us? So you've been in a church hooping and hollering, putting down the devil who is on the inside of you. The white boy called it the devil because when he gets to that part, his pineal gland is calcified. So when he gets to that part, it's called his devil. This is stuff that's also metaphysically. The Bible is not only something that's talking about time events, it's talking about parts of the soul. You see what I'm saying? Which in the part of the soul that they call hell is melanin, and you got it. You understand? Everybody all right? Okay, now let's go on. Let's go on now. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see now. In the book of Thoth, which is the actual tarot deck, the tarot deck that you see them tarot cards came out of Egypt. They also correspond with the Holy Kabbalah, which correspond with the Bible. That tarot deck, they got a card and they call the devil. And in the card called the devil, if you break down the tarot deck, is the devil is also Osiris, god of the perfect black, waiting to be risen up. That's talking about melanin also. Everybody got that? Okay, now let's go on. Now, Aiwas is a cosmic energy that is unseen, or a cosmic energy. What he is, not only is he a angel, these angels can throw their current out, and their current is on the planet now. That's why on the beginning of the book, it's called the 93 current. And it got 93 and 418. 418 is the number of melanin, as the number of the great works. Now, let me go to some other things. I want to show you something. Remember I was talking about Blavatsky, right? And I told you that Blavatsky and Ledbetter, Blavatsky and Ledbetter, who were occultists of the Golden Dawn, right? Come to find out that the same thing that happened to me this weekend for putting this book up, this is what happened. According to the Theosophical Lodge in
Chicago. The Theosophical Society is a society that was started by Madame Blavatsky, who gave you these books, the Isis Unveiled and the Secret Doctrines. Their lodge is still going. They got one of the Theosophical Society right down here on one of these streets over there by the Colony Square Hotel. And they open for black people to go up in there. And if you go, they have lectures on Sundays, and you could go up in there and just, and then they'll let you into their library and you can study. And they got all this science. I mean, if you're going to go to their schools to learn food, you might as well go there and learn some other science and stuff. Now, according to the Theosophical Lodge in Chicago, is composed of many people of Russian ancestry. Blavatsky was a Russian woman, but they are black Russians. Even though she was white looking, if you look at her hair, if you ever get any pictures of her, she looked like a black woman. A Russian ancestry. It adheres closely to the scientific spirits of Blavatsky. The person who's writing this maintains that therefore Blavatsky is the instrument of energies of Aiwas in the Russian vibration. That the Mahatmas, she says she got her knowledge from these Mahatmas. The Mahatmas, Mahariya, is an agent of Aiwas for the Theosophic. That the magic thought by Ledbetter was under the rule of Aiwas. Ledbetter was a slave of Aiwas, in the opinion of the connection that COwrie was also. He also refers to the word Al as a slave that shall serve. Now, Al means God. It says that slaves of Aiwas therefore is viewed in this light. A slave shall serve simply because service is the nature of the mythical sense of the higher Sahadna than service as a chosen deity and guru. What they're saying is this particular current, once this current hits you, you got to serve this current as a particular slave to do the certain work that the hierarchy wants you to do. So some people are driven by a certain work that God wants them to do. Now, I've been teaching since spring '92. I've been studying, and I left all my money and everything I was supposed to have done. I left it behind. I was just doing studying these books. I was under this current. Once I hooked up these brothers, and they told me, they said, man, we put all that stuff into you. They say, all them books and stuff, they say, we put, and this is one thing. I'm going to be frank with you. All these books that I got, I don't read all them books. The Spirit leads me to the pages that that they want me to tell, and this is how I've been doing this stuff the whole time. A lot of y'all get the book and say, damn, all this stuff, I don't see where this brother get all this from. The Spirit has been leading. They say, man, we gave you that particular power. And guess who that person is? This particular Aiwas. Now, let's go on. Let's go on. Now, I want to give you some other stuff. It says that the magic of Aiwas is a sexual magic that transcends all formula involving human partners, using Hithro, the occult of Eastern and Western. They're talking about these two schools of magic, which is also talking about the actual mystery system. The new magic will assume from a congress of transhuman entities that will be instructed into the earth plane's atmosphere as perfecting of the Aiwas physics. Now, what is the Aiwas physics? The Aiwas physics is Aiwas melanin. Aiwas meaning pure Akash. Akash is talking about the Akashic records, and Akash is also the black substance. Okay? Aiwas is being pure Akash, the most advanced human magicians taking part in pure consciousness and the element of fire. Fire is also called the word lux. LVX, lux, is also, they put it's LUX with a spelling in the English language. In the Kabbalistic thing, it's called LVX. Will involve entirely a new human species to enter the new atmosphere. Now, what is this new human species? This new human species is none other than you black people getting in touch with your higher self on another plane. The gods are already here. Millions of them. They're not coming from outer space. The outer space place. People are waiting on you. You are already here. It's just that you thinking you Sally Mae and Joe Jackson. You see what I'm saying? You have been fooled into thinking that this body is you. There's the real you lies inside, and it's lying dormant. It is dead. It is lying, the body of Osiris, ready to be resurrected. This is the true meaning of the resurrection story in all of your mythology. It's talking about you being resurrected from the dead and getting in touch with your holy guardian angel, your higher self. Y'all all right? Y'all bear with me so we can wind this stuff down. Now, it later will be charged with the stellar electronic particles that already have been existing and experiment by some advanced practitioners, by some other forms confused with UFOs. They are UFOs in a sense that they are unidentified, but beyond they have a connection with the gross etheric manifestations such as the experience at merely terrestrial levels of awareness. Such mundane UFOs from a bridge link with the species beyond the ethers lead towards Akash, even beyond the black egg in space. They're talking about these UFOs are controlled by melanin. You being a part of the extraterrestrial government, and this particular stuff controlled by melanin. Okay? Now, we talk about the Eon of Mayat, right? Now, we talk about the Eon of Mayat. Let me go into some things right now to show you what's going on. The book of Mayat, there's a book called the Book of Mayan that the brothers and sisters on Sirius have, which is talking about the Eon of Mayat. You put it together, it means Mayan, which is, Mayat is also talking about spaceships. Spaceships of Mayat. Now, I want to go into some things right now because I told you before that we were all the animals. If the animals got this power and they can do all these things, that means you got this power too. You can fly and you can do all these things too if you tapped into the actual science of what is going on. There's a guy got a book called Ritual out, I think, from Africa, and he's talking about his people flying. That ain't nothing. Everything the animals can do, you can do too. If you exert over them, once you rise, though, that melanin is called animal activism. And it says the animal activisms were the first forms of primal current of consciousness that preceded the extraterrestrial source. They were, in fact, the primal forms of the cosmic energies or gods. Their literal god forms and later assumptions they formed by men was magical means of contacting streams of consciousness which first penetrated the earth plane. Aiwas is this link considered through the impulse was transmitted the source of extraterrestrial consciousness. This Aiwas is the messenger of forces that's ruling the earth. Location of the sources of nature of those God forces is mysterious in Al. Al means God, and it means the nature in you, and Al also means the child, the crown and conquering child, which is talking about melanin, and it's also saying that this particular extraterrestrial government all lies in the melanin. Y'all with me? Now, because let's wrap this stuff up, and so we can have a little bit of question and answer. I know it's hot and all, but this is when the stuff gets a little good, okay? Because I want to deal with some other stuff now. Y'all bear with me. Remember now, get my book and I'll explain that. I'm going to come out with an Aiwas 2 next week. And you can get some stuff too, because I got a lot of out-of-print material. But what I want to do is, I'm going to come up with these books so you can have it, and I'm going to take all the bull jabber to get all this Masonic stuff, and I'm going to chop it up and give you the actual science, okay? Y'all ready? The evidence that has been in previous chapters of the twin polarizes Aiwas transcended vividly by the generated conjunction of the word lux, which means light, consciousness, nox, which means darkness. You got to take from the darkness you get the lights. Okay, you ready? The light of darkness results apparently in the former letter that remains, hence in Akasha, Dashu, which means melanin. Akasha, the black egg, which contains the invisible light, being identified with light, the observer necessarily carries it within him. Talking about this black substance. And it is invisible light with darkness. That means you go through the darkness and it becomes up. Today it can be conceptualized as a ultimate black hole. Remember I talked about the actual melanin being black holes, which that book I told you, Through a Universe Darkly, bears witness to it? The ultimate black hole. More than that, the formula is a number of Amen, the hidden God, which talking about melanin again, okay? And the word Sagala, attributed to the heavy metal of Sirius B, said to be the Sagala. The formula of Sigul is the number 333, positive Aiwas aspect of current. This Sirius B is a burnt-off star, right? That star is where the actual souls of our people, that energy, that return to the triple blackness of space. For that burnt-off star in Sirius B, that goes around Sirius B every 50 to 60 years, is none other than this triple blackness of space, where the actual souls go to and come back, which is nothing but a composite of melanin, which in the core of all stars is melanin, right? Which, once you hit this, that halo comes over your head and you light up as a star. Every man and every woman is a star. So every star that you see up there, after you create, after you transcend from this particular earth plane and go through different classrooms in the universe, your last school, which you manifest as, is a star. Those stars up there are nothing but the souls of your parents and your ancestors. Sirius B and this particular ultimate black hole, Amen, the hidden God, which means the soul in melanin, is none other than that Sirius B, which is nothing but the core of a star, which is the soul of God. Which Melchizedek, you can get mad at your Melchizedek told me that I asked him where Master Farah Muhammad was. He said, now he is a star. He is a star. When he left this plane, he went back into a star. That's what they said in the universe. That's exactly what they said. Now, so y'all can deal with that or whatever you want to do. But that's the kind of stuff that's going on. Now, I want to get into this Kaaba in Mecca, okay? I want to get into this Kaaba in Mecca because I want to show you some things that's going on. I told you that the Kaaba was, in fact, and I'm going to read all this stuff and I'm going to go into some things that's happening on our earth plane on what this stuff is connected with us. That's why I got to get through the preliminary and all the scientific stuff. So y'all bear with me. Let's go to this Kaaba. Okay, you ready? Now, the Kaaba is the current of Sut, are the old ones. The old ones are the first people who came on this planet and seeded this planet, which they say that the Kaaba is the first Adam, right? The black Adam, the black mud, whose vehicle on earth, who is the vehicle on earth. Okay, now, that's what the Kaaba is. Now, it says that the establishment of the Kaaba at a clerk house, all must be done well with the business way. The Kaaba is equals the number 25 of the star Ruby, which is the star, sacred star Tanut, which is nothing but a star, which is Sirius. The star in invocation is the pentagram that you see. Is the pentagram of the source of Al. Al means God. The Kaaba is a form of the Egyptian Kefa, Keba, Queba. The great mother is one also ancient, also the ancient one. Further indication, the Kaaba here indicates the power zone of the great old one, hence the stellar reference. The great old ones are the actual brothers and sisters who was the gods that before they fell, they were called the great old ones. And they came from the star Sirius. That's what the Kaaba also represents. Okay? Now, show you some more things on the Kaaba. The Kaaba derives from the Egyptian Kaaba, birth, initiation, i.e. the grail of Babylon, the vehicle of Babylon, which is actually talking about not Babylon in a negative sense, but it's talking about Babylon as far as the star of Babylon. The combination of Eon of the Horus and Maya concentrated in the currents of terrestrial interplanetary brotherhood. The Kaaba also symbolizes the eon of Heru that is rising, Heru on the horizon, okay? Now, one last part about this particular COwrie, and we can go on. I'm setting you up because I want to get through all this stuff. I know this stuff is long, and I know it's hot, but let's do this. Aiwas, the angel Aiwas, or the god Aiwas complex, is the number 93, the 93 current. It's on the beginning of the book. Happens to be the number of the COwrie. The COwrie is the black stone, the sixth stone related to Aiwas, the door of the mob zone. The mob zone is nothing but dark on the tree of life, which is melanin. Okay? Okay, y'all with me? All right. In the connection with the Persian hint, the symbol of the Holy Grail and the sixth star, the 333, the eons of the God, is the magical current of the number 418. The number 418 is also melanin. So Aiwas' symbol is none other than the COwrie, okay? Now, in 1947, Aleister Crowley died. Who got this stuff? When he dies, what happens when he dies, all these doggone UFOs start coming into the actual earth plane. And they come into the earth plane, and since then they have been picking up 30,000 aliens per month, 30,000 white people per month. And if you go see the movie Fire in the Sky, which was a true event, if you look on them ships, you will see that it wasn't no pretty thing that was going on with this particular spaceships that was going on. Now, a last key, and I'm going to go into some things that happened to me, and so we can wrap this stuff up. And that is this number 12. You see, last week, about 2 weeks ago, the gods came to me, and they told me to take the number 3, 9, and 12, Melchizedek, and say, play with those numbers. Well, we know that the 12 tribe of Israel, there's 12 stars on Elijah Muhammad head. What's the name told you there were 12 DNA strands. There's 12 planets, because they just found 2 other planets the other week, which we got right here. Planets were reported outside, the first outside our solar system. There's 2 other planets that they didn't know they had. They just found the particular planets. And this was also in the, I think it was Atlanta Journal-Constitution, but we got it here, and I got some other ones. So now, they told me to deal with this particular number 12. Now it says the spirit of the sun, or the solar phallic current, which solar phallic energy is, your sperm is actually energy from the cosmos, which in our part is energy from Sirius. Now we say that we created this white boy, but we say that also we channel all kind of energy. There was another planet called the 12th planet that blew up called Maldek, because the people on there did some messed up stuff. And when we started making this white boy, we channel his energy, and some of those Maldekians are here in white people. Or, as they say, we are some of them Maldekian people too, as say, because now we coming up, we got black devils among us also too. So now, this stuff comes into the earth plane through the semen and given to this woman who gives birth to this particular stuff based on this solar phallic energy. Now, it said the spirit of the sun is the solar phallic current, is now merged with Aiwas, the triple blue-black angel. That means that the sperm that is coming out of you is coming from the brothers and sisters straight from Sirius that are the gods. That's why they say that these new babies are straight-up psychic gods. And if you don't kill them off, they will kill them. You see. They are psychic gods. So don't treat them, and they are older than the parents that they come to. So don't treat them at a certain time. Yeah, you got to nurture them as a baby, but you got to set them up in situations so they can go and grow into their godhood. You see. And one way is to get them from around this beast, because he already know what's going on, and that's why I don't take none of them to no doctor. You see what I'm saying? If God can't handle it through the spiritual herbs, then send him on back to the Creator. But don't take it to no gods, because that's just totally messed up, and you will create karma because of that also too. Now, it says that this solar phallic energy spirit of Aiwas has come closer to the earth than ever before, so that he might be able to influence us with his thoughts. He says there are 12 people who are to be the guardians of the new conscious. These 12 people, all of them All of them are known to work with him in other places like Atlantis and Lemuria. Aiwas was on the scene. Now they say they got 12 guardians. Some of them already know who they are. Some of them are to be enthroned. They have worked with Aiwas in Atlantis, in Lemuria. And they are here to set up time as this extraterrestrial government. Now you are the gods too. It's just that you got a few people that's going to be in place to jumpstart other niggas' brains. So it's not that you're no different than Aiwas. You are the Elohims. It's just that he's coming to help you out. You understand what I'm saying? He's just the pilot of the ship. You understand? It's no different. These particular 12 guardians that's on the plane, on the plane that's going on right now. Now, what happened was I was in New York in October. I had been buying off all this stuff and buying things and being directed to buy certain books, some books I couldn't even read, and then get out of print books that I couldn't even read. I was in New York in October. And I was thinking of this stuff, and I was reading this stuff. I said, well, dang, why some of the black scholars hadn't come up with this stuff? Then I thought about it. I said, well, dang, I'm coming up with this stuff. I said, well, maybe I'm being used or something. You know, maybe this stuff. And I said, well, dang, that means that I got to start thinking of myself as an Elohim and as a God, and start thinking of myself as another level than a humble servant. What I mean by that is, humility is the nature of the God, but sometimes humility becomes denial for some of us. They got certain jobs and responsibilities we need to do, and we just humble ourselves, thinking that up here gonna do it all. I said, and I gotta put myself on another level in this humble thing, because we are the Elohim. We made the doggone laws. One of the psychic sisters told me 2 years ago, she said, look, the Elohims are tired of the people praying to them. They want you to be one with them. They tired of all this begging and stuff. You begging and stuff because you don't know who you are. You thinking you some lowly despised person that's unapproachable to God when you are the God. So they want you to get out of just thinking, and anything that you think, don't say it's beyond God. You are the God. So you got the right to be wrong. Since there ain't no hell, what kind of retribution you gonna get? The only doggone thing you need to be doing is lifting yourself up. So I said, I'm gonna start thinking about myself different. That was in New York when my ex-girlfriend's mother died. I went up in October. They buried her on a Tuesday. That Thursday, I came into this thing. I rode back that Friday. That Saturday, the sister came back, because I had to drive. She took her mother's car back home. That Saturday, the sister came back. She said, I'm going out to the cleaners. You want to go for a ride? I said, yeah, I need to pick up something to eat. That was early Saturday morning. In October, maybe the 1st of November at that time. So we went to the cleaners, and I said, well, look, go by the Sphinx Metaphysical Bookstore. I don't know why I went there, because I got all the books out. I bought up all that stuff. And I said, I don't know why I went. I said, maybe it's a force of habit. But some say just go by there. When I went by there, this other sister came in, and she said, dang, I don't know what in the devil I'm in here for. I got all the books, because she's a Yoruba practitioner. And she said, I got all this stuff. And then I said, well, dang, sister, I said, you all in all that? She said, yeah, I'm a practitioner, and I was born with a veil. And I was a slave. I said, oh, that's great. I said, well, you got to give me your number, because every time I get somebody like this, I said, you got to give me your number. So we started talking. And just then she said, I don't mean to say nothing. She said, this hardly ever happens. She said, but there's a tall black man standing behind you with Arab dress on. I said, well, I heard that before. And I said, is he tall with kind of serious? She said, yeah. I said, I think I know who it is. I said, you got to call me tonight. It was the same night the Empress was in town. You know what day that was? Yeah, right. It was the same time she was in town. I went to the Empress and saw the whole thing with her, and then I got back that night. I called her sister. And I started reading. He seemed to be a tall black man with a face of an African king in his 30s, and so and so. She said, ask him. And I said, his name was Aiwas, and then she said, he says yes. I said, oh, shoot. I said, well, is he the head of the Sirius star system? She said, yes. Okay, I said, oh, shoot. I said, dang. I said, what's going on here? Then I realized, and then I think I did a lecture 2 days later, or maybe a week later, and I was all in the spirit and did this lecture called the Aiwas Factor. Now, the key to this whole thing is what I'm trying to tell you is this. If he is on the plane and he is with us, then what does that tell you about yourself? You see what I'm saying? What does that tell you about yourself? Now, then I met the other sister, one sister in Tennessee kept telling me, you got to go on a mountain go to one of the mounds on your birthday on the 28th, you'll be 32, and you got to go on the birthday. There's something you got to do. And she was telling me this ever since September. And I didn't put it together. And I said, wait a minute. She said, something's going to happen on your birthday. And I said, wait a minute. I think I'm supposed to be somewhere on my birthday. And a couple of sisters here can bear witness to it. So we went on the mounds, at the Etowah Mounds that day. What happened was, I just said I was supposed to be somewhere. Sister Joy called and said, I got to call you. She said, I was flung and the book fell off the doggone bookcase and fell on the floor and opened up to your name. And I'm inviting you to go out to the Etowah Mounds with us on the 28th. I said, well, dang, that's my birthday. I said, oh, I see. I said, that's what she said. I knew it. She said, all I told me that I was supposed to call you. Then she said, well, there's another sister that got to get in touch with you. And this another sister, psychic sister Barnwoodville. I said, oh, yeah, we got to get in touch. So I got in touch with her that day. She in the spirit, and they told me that I had to go through this initiation in the whole 9 yards. I got to clean out my body and do all this stuff here because we want you to go back and forth from Sirius, and we want you to have your body open up so when you do this type of stuff, you can go back and forth and come in and out your body, and it won't be no trip. So you got to be open. Now this ain't just talking about me; it's talking about you in here. Because now they're saying, this brotherhood is saying now that you got to clean yourself out so they can give you messages. Same messages that all the people that wrote them books of the Bible and the Quran, they want to give you, the Elohims that's left over. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So, right before Christmas, I met up with one, and then he came back and said, I'm the head of Sirius, and my name is Melchizedek. And I said, then I started putting two, I said, okay, you one of the same. He said, my name is also Metatron. He said, my name is also Metatron. He said, which my name is also Medura Atan. So I said, okay, Medura Atan. Then he said, now you gotta look at this, because this is the whole thing with this whole sexism thing. He said, you, and I said it on my other thing, he said, you were a priest in Kemet, you was a scribe in Kemet, and you was another priest in Kemet, you was a priest in Atlantis, and you was a housewife in Atlantis also. I said, dang. So that's telling you that the soul, you see, and we thinking, fool into thinking that we masculine in this whole thing here, and the soul is spirit, which can take the form of all. Say, you was a housewife too. I said, dang. And I'm sitting there the whole time, you know, and we go through all this foolishness, and we can't even take it out, fix it in our mind, say you was a housewife in Atlantis also. Now, then, they said that your name was Anru when you was a priest in Atlantis. Your name was Manes Ra when you was a priest in pre-dynastic Egypt. Your name was Medu-Ra when you was a priest in dynastic Egypt. And that's where you fell off the path because you fell in love with one of your students. And we kicked you out of the priesthood. And she said, now we done sent the girl back from California with you. And you think because she's too young, you don't want to get with her. We done sent her back with you because you got to come and you got to teach her and put her in the knowledge and bring her up because you're supposed to do that so you can redo this right, this wrong. I said, okay. Then, I said, okay, cool. Now, one of the keys to this whole thing is this. The other night, well, let me go on a little further. Y'all all right? Let's finish this stuff up. Now, let me go on a little, the other night, let's go the other night, another sister, a sister that is in the spirit, and this sister bad too. I got several too, but they send me these sisters, because the sisters got it. Now, I'm just a humble baby trying to be lifted up, but Osiris lifted himself up through the woman. So they say, now, we send you the actual mate that you with, you're supposed to get with your mate, and you're supposed to hug your mate, because your mate is the spiritual half that lift the male up while you in this vessel. So you're supposed to come in contact. That's why the whole thing with the sex tantra or the whole 9 yards, and not necessarily even intercourse, that's a part too, if you know how to do it right. But they're just talking about bonding together. And they say that lifts you up. And then they say, well, her name is Mentu Sibara. And she was a priest of Sekhmet before she was kicked out. And they say she is to ride the raft of heaven. I say, okay, ride the raft of heaven. All right. Then, and the Spirit telling me, right, I think the Spirit is telling me to go ahead with this, so I'm going to go with it. I'll be chastised. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you this stuff that went on. So she said, he is to ride the raft of heaven. And they say, she sits beside Osiris and lift him up. I say, so, oh, she's a form of Sekhmet. Said, yes. Okay. It goes on to the point where now this is the sister that I'm with. All right. It goes back to me, and it says that you was also in Yemen, and you was also in Yemen, and you was also in Arabia in time of Muhammad and the whole time. But you was a Sufi master. That's when you got back on the path. You was a Sufi master. Now they say you came back now to do what you're doing, and you're not doing what you're doing because you chose to do this before you left the airplane the last time. So you merely doing what you're supposed to do. It's your duty. They said, now if you fall off the path, you will perish. And if the sister fall off the path, she will perish. And they also saying this, now I'm setting this thing up to tell you something about you. So they're saying, once you know the responsibility of who you are, if all of y'all fall off the path, you through. Because the ones who don't know, they cannot be chastised. But those who do know, you are to be wholly accountable. For whom much is given, much is required. Okay? Much is required. Now I'm going to tell you some other things, but I'm not going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you some other things about me. To tell you some things about me, and I'm going to tell you this for one reason. This is a signature to all black people. Number one, I ain't starting no organization. And number two, I don't want nobody to follow me. I couldn't give a damn about none of y'all, because I'm going to try to do what I got to do. So don't come to me about no God form, because the whole key is, when I'm going to tell you a few things about me, and if we're looking at we all the same people in the same room, that means it's got to tell us something about us too. That means it ain't nothing. It's got to tell us something about us. So I'm going to go into this science to tell you something about you. Now, I did 2 videos the last 2 times, and I talked about these type of things that were supposed to rise up. Go back and get the videos and put this video together. I ain't got nothing to do with this. Nothing at all. I didn't know nothing about it. I'm just tell you straight up what they told me. And what they're telling me is something about you. Because they also named 2 or 3 people. They said one of your sisters that's with you is the sister Maya, is the goddess Maya incarnated. The sister that's with you is the goddess Sekhmet that's incarnated. Now they're telling me, they didn't say me, they're telling me about different people. Now all you got to do is tap in and find out who you are, because all of you, all others, we're all one, and all of you, all of those gods. That's the key what I'm trying to tell you all. Y'all cannot, you are those particular gods. Okay, now, I said, well, I started backtracking again. When I was giving them certain information, they said, we can't give you that much information. They said, because you got to start feeling about yourself a little better. You can't doubt. You got to wipe out all that. I said, but dang, I'm doing this knowledge, and I'm up on a high. I said, I do it. I'm not one of these Negroes in the street. But they said, no, you don't understand. We're trying to give you some keys. They said, we're going to give you some keys to lift you up. But you got to find out something about yourself more. They say your Syrian name is Amanza. That means he's one who listens and does the work. I say, okay, y'all being kind of like, being a little funny there. You want me to do some work. I know I got to meditate the whole 9 yards. I say, but it got to mean more than that. They say you will be revealed what your name is upon your learning and upon your work. Okay, I said, okay, cool. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together, but when they gave me the sister name, they said, wait a minute. They say her name, it means she who rides the raft of heaven. And I said, okay, cool. That means that she's one of them sisters on the mothership on the higher level. Then they said, she sits beside Osiris. I said, well, she with me. They can't be calling me no doggone Osiris. You know what I'm saying? But they told me before, Osiris is a title. They said, but they can't be calling me. They said, she sits beside Osiris. I said, okay, cool. So I'm going on with it. Then I started playing around with the names. His name was Medu Ra Atan. He said, which means, Medu means the word. Ra means the sun, and Atan means Sirius. Medu Ra Atan means the sun in Sirius. The word of the sun in Sirius, which is the Sphinx that sit in the middle of the desert. the number 19. I said, okay, okay. But I remember he said that one of my names when I was an Egyptian priest before I got kicked out was called Medu-Ra, which means the word of the sun. I go to Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary and look it up, and they say Medu-Ra was a person who was a god whose name is in the temple of Seti I in the first Holy Land. I said, okay, cool. All right, and I start putting things different, about different, how you got to start feeling about yourself again. You got to, and I remember they said that all this psychic energy and all this here is nothing compared to God realization. When you realize that you're God. But they went as far as to put me on a level to show me what God I was. Now, this is the key. I said, my name is Medu-Ra, which means the word of the sun. I said, the only thing I ain't got is the doggone series, the Artan. And I put two and two together. They said the sister Mentu-Seber-Ra was supposed to sit beside Osiris. I said, but damn, Osiris, when he rises up again, he gonna rise up as his son Heru. Heru is also the Sphinx that sit in the middle of the desert called the Sphinx. The sun is also called Horomakis, Horus on the horizon. Heru is also named Artan too, which means the sun in Sirius. I said, okay. She sits beside, and I said, dang, I think I got this thing. And I ran outside and I looked outside. Now they told me, they said, you got 4 spaceships that sit out around. You got 4 of them. Not just for you, but all the people that you come in contact with that know you to get into frequency, they for them too, because they the gods. They say this brother right here got his own ship. They say all of us exist on realms and we the extraterrestrial government that they talking about, and we got our own ships. I said, okay. They gave me 4, and I went behind the house and I saw one bright one show up, and then after that, they got so many over there now that I can't even count them. So now I called back. And I say, Medu-Ra all the time. I say, well, if my higher self, am I a form of Melchizedek? And they say, yeah. I say, well, then you told me that my name was Amanza. What does that mean now? And then they utter, they say, it is Heru. They say, I say, okay, cool. I say, I'm getting somewhere now. They say, work with the number 9, 3, and 12. We look, and in this book I got called a Kabbalistic Dictionary, I looked, and 3 times 9 is the number 27, and right there on the line, it had the word Mentu, which is a sister, Mentu-Seber-Ra, and the word Heru on the number 27. I said that. We looked up our names as we looked up our names both together, because Sekhmet is also a form of the Sphinx. When we looked up our names as far as the numerology, it added up to the number 19. I said, okay, cool. The number 19. All right. I called back Melchizedek. The last thing was the number 12. I was looking in the book, and the book fell open about these 12 people that's supposed to be rulers of consciousness. The sister right here can bear witness, because I didn't understand, but when we went to the mounds, the sister started channeling. It said that they had chosen me to work with the people. So the book followed on the 12, and it says the 12 rulers of consciousness. I called the sister up and said, they say something about some 12 rulers of consciousness. What are they talking about? And I said, they told me to work with the number 12 also. Okay, just then Melchizedek bust through and say, you one of the 12 rulers of consciousness. They say you were one of the first 4. Now the whole key to this is I'm not trying to tell you this type of thing for you to worship me. I'm trying to tell you what we all are. You just got to tap into what you are and do the study on yourself. They say you were one of the first 4, and we rejoiced at your birth, and we also rejoiced when you went up on the mountains. I said, okay. And then she said, your name is... I said, well, I can't understand what that means. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said, Heru. Heru. And I said, oh, so all this stuff I'm talking is about me. They say, yeah. But this is the key that it links you all in. I said, well, who can I give invocations to and pray to? They say, pray to Amanza, pray to Medu-Ra, pray to Menet. Pray to Anu. I say, what? They say, pray to yourself. So the whole key of this whole thing is they're talking about you being linked up with the gods. Now, Aiwas is the minister of Heru Pakrat, which is Heru. And I said, well, I figured out the first day, I said, well, am I this person? And the other sister that I had, she said, well, you all that, we all of that. And they didn't give it to me. So I said, oh, this whole Aiwas thing is the minister. I said, oh, they said, I said, am I that? And they said, yes. You are this Heru Pakrat that this minister and this Book of the Dead is talking about. Okay, this new thing is talking about. Now, this is crazy stuff. I know this. And I ain't telling you no stuff, because believe me, I ain't like one of these niggas like Jim Jones and all these people tell you about me. I don't want nothing to do with y'all. You understand what I'm saying? What we trying to do is this extraterrestrial government that's going on. I'm just telling you what Melchizedek told me to tell you some things. Okay. They saying, but not only that, all of the gods, they are one with you. They are the same as you. They're the same as you. Those other gods that you talk about, you are all parts of those particular divinities. You are the Elohim. You are the Elohim. I'm no different than you. I just got my title. The key is to this whole thing, and I know this sounds crazy, so that nigga, that done gone fool now. Like I said, you mark my words, I ain't gonna start no ministry up, and no kind of junk like that. So you gotta mark my words. This whole thing is to get you to get on the frequency. Because the whole thing is you will never work towards lifting yourself up if you really don't know who you are. You see what I'm saying? Really don't know who you are. I know the brother here is one of them ancient deities because Aiwas is, this brother here is his holy guardian angel as well as my brother. They say, yo, two brothers, I got my brother here, the one with the baby, and another. They say Aiwas is their guardian angel too, as well as Melchizedek, and they are priests of Heru. But I remember I was a priest of Medjugorje, which is Melchizedek, so they're the ancient gods too. Now, so when I thought about it, the next day one of the spiritual brothers called me and said, man, the angelic host is all in your house. All in your room. Say, clean up your room and go take a shower or whatever. You got to have things neat and all this kind of thing here. They're all in your room. The next day when I tapped into who I was, they was all over the place. And most ships was up. Other night, Thursday night, I think it was Thursday night, the sister from Tennessee called. She said that you all supposed to be going on a spiritual retreat soon, which I talk about this vortex opening up in April. Now the key to this whole thing was they said, well, we see you. We're not talking about on April the 2nd or April the 4th through the 8th, you're supposed to be meditating, fasting, or doing something because this door opened. She said, well, we got a thing. She said, we see all us. She said, I see us in a place meditating. I see us in a house. In a house, right? And she said, but I see a whole group of Ethiopians in the house, which is saying she was seeing us as an original people who we were other than. She was seeing us as an original people who we were other than. Is that thing focused?
Very much so.
Good. As other than what we are now as Sally Mae and Joe Jackson. You see what I'm saying? She said, I see a house full of Ethiopians. When I got in touch with Melchizedek said that the house full of Ethiopians is the people around you as in their God forms. See the key on this thing? Talking about you all around. That's who it is. They're talking about the people that surround you in their God forms on the second half. They also say that this vortex is open up, you can get in touch with your second half. Okay? The other thing to this is this. The sister said, well, I see you. Because they kept telling me, they said, well, you better be prepared to die, which means you go to your other half. You go to your second half, you see. Say, be prepared to die. I want to show you something right quick. Look. Look at this. Metatron, or Medjugorje, or Aiwas, or Metatron, I think it's in, no, it was in the other book, and I didn't get it. Is a form of an extraterrestrial government that has ships of 4,500 motherships that house over 45 million light beings on their higher self. Guess who those 45 million light beings are? You looking at them. You are. You just got to think in another phase. Okay? So they said, they told me, they said, be prepared to die and go into your higher self. I said, cool, you mean physically? They said, no, we talking about spiritually. Coming from the lower ego to the higher self, your holy guardian angel. Okay? Be prepared to die. All right. I said, this other sister from Jackson, Tennessee called me and said, did I see you? She told me, I see you in this house with all these people. and they all Ethiopians. Then she said, I see you, your clothes all raggedy, and you standing in ashes. And you this tall, black man, in his 30s, and you're a black Ethiopian with muscular. And I said, dang. Which is your higher self, your holy guardian angel, which the minister of Harpar is number 418, and the number 418 is also not only the number of Aiwas, but it's also the number of Heru Parkra. They both are one and the same, which is also the number of Raha Kahudi. So they say, I see you in your with tall thing, and I see these ashes, and I see you running down this hallway of this metal that is not made of what this earth is made of, stuff on this earth. And she said, she said, but I also see you as you are now in this big ball that's around you. And it's shooting out energy, but you ain't aware of the energy. This big silver ball. Okay, but I get in touch with Melchizedek. He said, number one, that the people in the house was the actual gods, which all of you are. Now, you got to take responsibility to get into your higher self. Because you gods. We all are gods, right? Then they said, the person that you saw, the Ethiopian type, the tall, dark man, was your higher self. I said, okay, cool. Now, I ain't never, you took all my videos. I ain't never talked no stuff like this before. I'm just telling you what's straight up. I'm reporting it. You know what I'm saying? But our people are the ones condemn certain things. Well, condemn your own self because they talking about you too. You see what I'm saying? They talking about you too. Now, you don't accept responsibility of who you are because the extraterrestrial government is here and you can't get killed. You see what I'm saying? If you hooked up with this, you with protection. They got enough 40 to 60 million Negroes to torment and to mess with a few Negroes in this room.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? Why go after the people that can start the battle today? They got enough niggas to torment, so they ain't worried about that. The white man already know what time it is. Okay. They said that person was you. I said, well, what was this big ball over me? They was talking about, they say that is 2 big motherships that's with you right now. And the motherships you see is the ships off of the motherships, and they with you right now. His brother here already done saw his mothership, and he was on the ship by himself. That means that he gonna pick up passengers of all these other people. Because remember, Horus is supposed to pick up the souls of the people, which is also talking about us, and us being that extraterrestrial government that will be here in 1995. Remember the book I told you, Dolphins? Under telepathy and underwater birthing, that the dolphins have the same mind as the actual humans, by Timothy Wiley. And on the page, on one of the pages, they give you the actual prophecies of the people of the South Pacific, where it tells you the time of 1994. It tells you the time, the year. 1994, total balance and harmony will be on the earth. We know that the time continuum is up from 1914 to 1994 or 1904. We know that the time continuum is up. We know that the total balance on the earth, we know, is going to happen within this year. They're going to wipe off all cancers. Then it says, 1995, a new race of fourth-dimensional humans will design a new reality. This is the spiritual Congress. The star people will be acknowledged. The design of a new human race comes from Sirius through lots of difficulties. That's talking about you that's already here. The light bringers are already here. See what I'm saying? So, they say you got 2 motherships, and the ships around you are the ships off of those particular ships. Now, got into some other things because I want to end this thing with one thing. And I want to show you this right now. Look at this, to let you know that your religion has been bull-jiving you the whole time about this hell thing. Look at this. I want to show you something right now. It says, it was Heru who was sent fire into the place of destruction and was the god of the furnace. This is the solar fire that the theologians have construed with the fires of hell. The origin lies in the scorching heat of the African sun. There is at least 56 different languages in Africa, and every one of them, the word fire is the same as hell. In Africa, the heavens was looked upon as hell. Did you get that? Hell fire. And in one instance was called the heavenly ashes, because the intense heat of Africa Even today, the heavens are termed the fiery furnace. The heaven that the doggone white man was telling you to actually despise or be scared of is actually, the hell that he told you this is actually your heaven. They say that heaven is hot. The scorching fire when Sirius arrives at New Year's Day every July 23rd, which is also the rise of the sun in Sirius also on that day in a time cycle. The hell fires is meant for the white man, not for you. You see, the heaven is hot, and the Heru, who is the doggone Messiah, he is the Messiah of hell. The devil they've been telling you to be scared of is actually their devil. It is your God. You understand that? It is your God. This is what time it is. And I know it's hot, but the whole point about this is, number one, to break this down. Number one, you to God. But in the satanic Christianity they've been giving you to make you scared of the devil was actually you as God, and it's their devil. You've been worshiping their God, which has been giving you hell for the last 400 years. You, like Khalid Muhammad said, the white man come and cut off your heat, cut off your light, and you go back down there and fall on the floor and start praying to a God that looks just like the white man who cut off your heat and your light. White man lock you up in jail, throw away the key, you go back in the cell and jump on your feet and start jump on your knees and start praying to a white Jesus that looked just like the man who locked you up. Remember now, the song that Farrakhan wrote, the white man's heaven is the black man's hell. One last key that I want to mention is in this book, that you all can get is this. And I say this in the book right at the end of the book. And it's this. At the end of the book, I think I sold the ones that got that in there. This is another manual. Let me hold that book right quick. Let me show you this. Right at the end of the book. It says this. And in this book got a glossary that explains all the stuff. You just got to turn the stuff around. It ain't talking about that devil that they talking about. The only devil you gonna get is coming in the thing. He already here. He been kicking you in the behind for the last 6,000 years. Okay. The devil or Satan in its exoteric meaning is referring to chaos melanin, that primordial substance that destroys that of evil, an abnormal or aberrant lower material matter. Aiwas being a melanin angel and a current, both Aiwas and equates to the number 418, which is the number of the great work, and the number of great work is melanin. The name of the book is 93418, which is none other than the actual melanin. And it's funny because Aiwas got in touch with me in the year 1993, the year we know, you see, 93418. Now the whole thing is they say that supposedly I'm 418 too, so they're saying that my only breakdown I got to make me different than you is melanin. Don't y'all all have melanin? All right then you to God. That's the key to this whole thing. The last 3 lectures, that's what I've been talking about when I did the one in what's called, was instructed that you got to look at yourself as another manner. Ye are the gods. This is the key to this whole thing. You can't look nowhere but inside yourself and look to nothing outside of yourself to liberate. The spiritual congress that they're talking about that will be here is already here. They're waiting on you. As a man and woman thinketh in his heart, so is he or she. You understand? So this is the conclusion. I think we'll end this. I say, Hotep brothers and sisters, if anybody want to stay around and say some question and answer, we can do that. All right. When the sister and I went up to the mounds, the crackers called the sister and told her at the Etowah mounds, don't come back up there because they was going to throw her in jail. They got a law out against us doing the ceremonies on the mounds, in these different mounds, which are nothing but pyramids that our ancient people did. The reason why they did that, because they understood when we went up there, the angelic host, the Native American and the African host came and was talking to us and said it was pleased. So this is the reason why they got a law out of that stuff here in the Etowah Mounds in Georgia. So that's what happened and all. What's that, brother?
This Stone Mountain, man. Stone Mountain, what's the deal?
Let me tell you the deal on Stone Mountain. Brother old Tim ran up against a Rosicrucian. He had the Eye of Horus on his ring. The man said, oh, you into that? He said, well, check this out. He said, you know Stone Mountain? He said, yeah. Well, he said, well, let me tell you about Stone Mountain. He said, you know the capstone on the Great Pyramid that they took off is now, I think it's in one of the museums. I think it might be in the Cairo Museum.
I think it's in Britain.
I don't know.
England.
English in the British one? Okay. Okay, the capstone was either one of the places, or either the Louvre. They said that the capstone, that black granite, that capstone, which, you know, the pyramids was white limestone, and when the which was white limestone that the Indians, that the Arabs took off and built their mosques with. Right. Get Peter Tompkins' Secrets of the Great Pyramid to talk about the capstone and both in his book, Secrets of. He said that capstone, which the sun used to hit, and it used to beam up like a light. That's why I say go back and get the Earth, Wind, and Fire cover, all in all, because they got the white pyramid and the actual star beaming on top. The Earth, Wind, and Fire was on it.
It was on point.
It was on point. Everything they did was on point. And the new album Millennium is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Now, he said that the granite to the capstone on the pyramid in Hemmitt can only be found one place in the world. Stone Mountain, Georgia.
So why? Because the Klan be doing their setup there.
Yeah, but the Klan already know what time it is. They Masons.
No key Masons.
Key Satans.
That can only be found in one place, Stone Mountain, Georgia.
So how can we?
That's a pyramid. It ain't no mountain.
So when this energy comes down, because they ain't letting nobody up there now. Niggas can only go so far up to Stone Mountain, and then you ask, excuse me, then that's it. You know, because the Klan be up there working their thing.
Well, you can go on. We've been on there. You can go up on that mountain. We went up on there and did a ceremony last year.
I heard a brother that was up there doing some studies with this crystal energy, and he was up there doing some things, and some crackers came and ran him off.
Well, it depends on what you're doing. Like I said, the Etowah Mountains, we did a little ceremony up there. They didn't do nothing.
Right.
Because that's a big public part. But like crystal energy, that's a whole nother thing. They know the Stone Mountain is a vortex. So, you know, only any day, or any days you want to, between the 4th through the 8th, some say the 2nd through the 8th, you need to go to Stone Mountain, because I know Etowah, they don't want you to go up there and do no ritual. But go to Stone Mountain and form you a little circle, even if you got to go by yourself and meditate on that mountain and get that doggone juice. They know you're coming, so that means that's a cosmic lift up for you. So that's what's up. Okay, any questions? Any other questions? That's it, y'all.
What's up with black media? You said,
well, the people in Emory, there's some white people out in Emory, supposedly is using psychic warfare. They was doing it on Florence Jackson, and they also supposed to trying to do some stuff with black media, but you know what I'm saying? The force be with some people, you see. The force be with some people. I mean, Florence Jackson, now I'm telling you, Florence Jackson was up there begging. Now, I think they got on the frequency now because they had Harry Days yesterday. But at one time, they was up there begging to give them some money to pay their taxes, when they know damn well the research say you don't supposed to pay no taxes. That's right. So now, if you're going to get knowledge, you're going to have to use it. Be responsible for it. Don't get the knowledge and know some doggone thing, and then when the white man put the heat to your behind, you go and do his thing. Oh, that's bad karma. You see what I'm saying? With this is much responsibility. You see what I'm saying? That's bad karma. That is bad karma. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing, too. They got on me Friday night and said, man, you got to do more meditation, and you got to do more to lift yourself up. At times that when you have recreation, that's got to turn into times through the diet and meditation. You see what I'm saying? You got to do that and all, especially the doggone diet.
That's what I call the day, man.
Yeah, the diet is key. You got to get, I love cheese, but I had to get off the dairy products. I had to get off all the bull jive. You see what I'm saying? Natural sweets only. You know, and I had to do some things. I mean, now you can't you got to play some, you know, because everything is processed in a way, even though the organics. So you got to play, you can't be so much a fanatic with it, but the whole thing is you got to be conscious of it. You see what I'm saying? But you know no meat. Ain't nothing coming off no high frequency. Because the reason why, when we did the last thing and we meditated over at my brother's house, Melchizedek came and said, half the people in this room is imposters. Say, because you all clogged up with the actual, toxins in your body. So you know you got to get that right, and that will automatically give you these particular frequencies. Like they say, now what's the name, like Deborah Blair said, coming in June, the sun going to be killing white people, but it's going to be helping you. Like you won't even be able to sleep for 2 or 3 days, because it's that much rays is close, but it's also that Aiwas current that is on the planet. That solar static energy from the sun, you see. So this is the kind of stuff that's going on. You see what I'm saying? We the gods, and we got to get to the godhood. Right now, there's 2 kind of things going on. There's 2 ascensions. The ones that's following, they're going to link up with a follower that's going to take them under subterranean worlds. The ones that know their God, they're going to get on a ship. You know, the ones that's following, there's going to be a certain time they're going to link up with the right follower. It's going to take them to the subterranean world. This brother Solomon said he's the one. The ones that's God, they're going to link up with a ship that's going to take them in space. Deborah Blair says the alternative planet might be Sirius or whatever. You see, it depends on who can make the grades or whatever. But the whole point is they got a project evacuation of this planet to clean it up. That's right. So there's a place for the followers, but you, the Elohim, you got work to do. So you see what I'm saying? Now, you know, the meditation ain't seen as something negative. It's seen as something that you can talk to God and lift yourself up. And the current comes to you and you get juice. So that's like going to the supermarket. Each time you meditate, you go into the supermarket and you pulling in cosmic energy that's regenerating your cells and turning you to the godhood. So that's just like going and getting that brew, but in a spiritual sense.
You're realigning yourself.
Right. Realigning yourself, as they say. See, you must realign yourself with the cosmic rays that we're sending to you. Now, I've been bull driving around because they got the ships be coming there all the time, and sometimes I be missing the doggone energy. They be shooting things and all, and sometimes I catch it. You see what I'm saying? And missing the energy, but the current is there. That night when I got down there, that night the current came, and I'm glad because I've been in the spirit ever since. And the spirit ever since. So that's what type of things it is. What's that, brother?
Keith and I want to present this to you for coming to Hotel speaking of this.
Hey, brother, that's great. And see, this is also the zodiac agenda, which I always teach from too. So this gonna look good in my project house. Yeah, this is gonna look real good on my wall, and it's gonna add me some more heat too. Cause it's gonna really this is really gonna put me on some things,
That can go with the other one, with the guy putting the sled.
Yeah, you're right. This is straight. Any other questions? Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, also we gotta realize we're operating on borrowed time. There is no more time.
No more time.
There is no more.
That's it. They say that the time is up.
The energy shifts the 25th also.
25th, like the sister was April. Also, the spring equinox, it starts on March 21st. It's going to be some times. But man, by the time the summer rolls around, stuff going to be booming.
You was commenting how you can, things will be coming to you real easy because they try to throw you. I mean, you can see now, you can go get a credit card. You can be a bum off the street. Go get a credit card.
Right.
Go get a car.
That's right.
Have the worst credit history, no cash, no job.
Right.
We'll hook you up.
Don't live for tomorrow, live for right now. That's what the key is right now. I gotta go into my godhood and accept what they're gonna give me. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta do the same thing. Cause you all the Elohim. So that's what time it is. So is that all? Yeah.
You said that the Elohims or the brothers are taking up 30,000 packets a month. Why in the newspapers saying that we missing 30,000 white folks today?
It is. It's on TV.
Number one, never look for none of your sources on the news. Number two, hold on. Number two, nothing of importance is going to come on. No radio and no media. That is for the dead people. That's to keep them dead. Anything of any positive source or anything that's going to do, that is to keep them dead. You see what I'm saying? You saying as far as warning white people, ain't nothing they can do, and they don't want them to get in no panic. They don't want them to... Every time you see the stuff, right? Yeah, and stuff like this, but they got the Fox, the X-Files that come on TV to tell you all about the abduction, and last year they had the sighting. It's just that we watch. The entertainment stuff.
X-Files are some actual files.
Just actual files that they give to people and stuff. You just gotta tap in. But remember, ain't nothing coming on TV. Yo, ascension and nothing gonna be televised. The beast gonna make you think that everything is A-okay to the last minute. That means so when our God come to get him, he'll get us too. Right. You see? That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna keep on building buildings. He's gonna keep with the Olympics. He's gonna keep telling you all this stuff about the future. This is how he keep you asleep. Because it's your God versus the white man on the TV set. Right. And the white man now is your reality, so he's gonna keep the reality going. When right now he is scared to death. Because he know it's time to get with it. You see? He know that the extraterrestrial government is not only coming, but we already here. And ain't nothing he can do about it. He gone, period. Like Brother Dawood said, you see a white man?
Stick him.
Stick him with a, get a fork and stick him, because they're already dead. Remember, this is all an illusion. So that's what's going down. Any other questions? Any other questions? Well, I guess that's it, brothers and sisters. Peace Hotel. Get the tape and try to study this stuff and see what the devil's going on.
Oh, yeah.